Tonight, we begin our first ever Forged in Fire Invitational Tournament. Over 5 weeks, 4 classes of metalsmithing professionals, farriers, armorers, blacksmiths, and modern metalworkers will put their blade-making skills to the test. It's the first time where all 4 of our bladesmiths come from a similar metalworking class. The winner from each class will go head-to-head for a chance at the title of tournament champion and the biggest purse ever, $50,000. Right now, round 1 belongs to the farriers. 4 farriers bring their unique skills to the forge.
I'm mesmerized at the speed that the farriers go.
Look at him go, man.
To compete for the honor of representing their class in the Forged in Fire Tournament of Champions.
My name is Kirk Adkins. I think I'm very good in pressure situations. When you have somebody asking you whether or not they need to put this horse down because of its feet, and it's a $1.75 million decision, then that's a little bit of pressure.
My name is Raylan Vanderweide. I'm from good old Turdlock, California. Most of us call it Turdlock because it smells like cow year-round. When it comes to being a farrier and making knives, both of them are kind of temperamental. There's always something working with metal and with working with animals that could go wrong and probably will go wrong.
My name is Riley Kirkpatrick. I love making something I know is not gonna sit, whether it be making horseshoes or I'm making tools. Like, I get a real thrill out of making a knife that I know a guy's gonna beat the crap out of it. You know, he's gonna use it.
My name's Chris Shook. I shod horses for 20 years and handmade most of my shoes I put on. The way I'd describe myself is perhaps a little like an Arabian horse. A little high-strung and good-looking.
Farriers, welcome to our first ever Forged in Fire Invitational Tournament. You are all professional farriers and active bladesmiths, so we'll be pitting you against one another in 3 rounds of timed competition designed to figure out which of you is the best farrier bladesmith in this group, so that we can move you forward into a champions competition where you will occupy the farrier's anvil, all in front of our panel of expert judges. Let's meet them now. Up first, 2-time Forged in Fire champion, Ben Abbott, historic weapons recreation specialist, David Baker, and last, edged weapons specialist, Doug Marcaida. All right, farriers, every long journey begins with an initial step. And where there are steps, there are these. Shoes. Horseshoes and farriers' rasps, to be exact. In the first round of competition, you'll have to combine the mild steel from a set of these shoes with the hardenable steel from this rasp to make a Sanmai blade with a front clip point. The length of that blade must be between 12 and 15 inches from tip to plunge grind and must not exceed 22 inches.
Having to make a Sanmai blade out of horseshoes and a rasp is definitely going to be a challenge. The teeth on the horseshoe rasp can cause you air bubbles and holes, and the horseshoes themselves have holes in them.
Keep in mind that in the second round, you'll be attaching handles to those blades to turn them into fully functional weapons that will be tested for strength and durability in a food bucket stab and chop, and for edge retention in a horsehair slice. Good luck, bladesmiths. Your 10-minute design window starts now. All of our farriers grabbing 4 horseshoes each.
I'm designing a knife that will stand up to the test. Kind of a general purpose camp knife. I think that'll work.
So what's gonna get me through the competition today is gonna be my grandma. She's no longer with us, unfortunately, but she is the reason I am where I am today, and I wouldn't be the woman I am without her. I decided to build a camper/whacking knife, something that's beefy and strong.
Each of those horseshoes has several holes that are prefabricated in there.
Yeah.
How do they deal with those holes?
Go over to the MIG welder, just fill them in, sand everything flat, clean that mill scale off of there, cut them, straighten them, flatten them out.
My plan is to make something similar to a Japanese wakizashi, which is the short sword that the samurai carried. The testing is one reason I chose the wakizashi, because I feel that the sword shape is very versatile and very durable.
As I'm designing this, I'm thinking function over everything else. I'm gonna make a Bowie-style knife, so it was a very time-proven design that I think can make it through these tests without a problem.
Bladesmiths, this design period is closed. Your 3-hour forge time starts now. It's the first time that we've had a competition where all 4 of our bladesmiths come from a similar metalworking class. It'll be interesting to see how the Farrier class's techniques differ from the other classes.
Look at him go, man.
Long handle, a relatively light hammer, and just a lot of
A sharp
motion.
hinge at the hip,
Yeah,
every
yeah.
single
Whole
stroke.
body.
Farriers are very good on the anvil. We use the anvil to shape up horses' shoes that are waiting on us. And so we don't have a long time to take this thing, shape it over the horn, and get it onto that horse. So we have to be very efficient and fast. The rasp by itself is already pretty much to the blade requirements as far as length. But I'm gonna take 2 of the horseshoes, and I'm gonna straighten them out so they can go straight down the back of the rasp. I'm feeling great right now. I'm hot, but I'm feeling good.
I like Kirk's hat. It reminds me of a train conductor hat. Now, these horseshoes,
It's mild steel.
mild steel, so it's not something you want to end up on the edge of your blade at all.
No.
Game plan is to make a taco out of this small piece, forge weld it to the back of the spine, and then make a really good knife.
Basically, sand my spine and then leaving the rest of the blade the file.
In order to make sure I have a good weld, I clean up the rasp and I clean the inside of the taco to make sure that I have clean surfaces for the weld.
I straightened out my horseshoes. I welded them onto my rasp. I'm now gonna forge weld that together, get it flattened out, and draw out my blade. Ah, damn it, I lost my weld.
Oh, Ray's steel just came apart.
Oh, it's okay. It's okay. You can fix it from here.
Where am I going from here? I've got a broken rasp, and I don't know if I'm gonna be able to make it work. I break everything off, grind off all those extra welds that I had on there from the first attempt. I weld it back on and throw it in the fire and try to forge weld for the second time.
I've got my horseshoes tack welded, I've got my rasp welded, I've got them all put together and ready for their final welding. And if that goes well, then I'll be shaping my billet out next. This is a very critical point. If you don't get those welds to stick within 1 or 2 tries, they most likely won't ever stick.
That's a massive delamination right there on the side of Chris's blade.
One of the horseshoes was not sticking to the rasp.
Wow, that's not good.
So now it's back to the forge and try it again.
Except for Big Blue on one turn, it's been all hammer and anvil work and grinders.
It's their
hand tools.
It's their bread and butter.
Farriers tend to work in a mobile shop. You don't have a big blue or a press with you.
Kirk moving right along. He's got that sand-my slip-on spine that he's attempting to forge weld onto that rasp.
It looks solid.
I'm sure that these welds are good, so it's time to move on to starting to actually shape the blade. Making sure I have the drop point.
My blade is in parameters. I'll finish the fine tuning and then punch it out.
Wow, Riley's already working on his handle.
Oh, yeah, Riley's got a full-on blade shape working.
Now head to the grinder. Now let me know if I have any delamination or anything, and I need to get back into the forge. I think they're good.
Farriers! You have just 90 minutes remaining to finish your work.
Ray is slowly drawing out her billet.
Yeah?
Hope she's got enough material there.
I have a smaller piece because I messed mine up, unfortunately, and I had to redo it with what I had. It's not quite meeting the parameters, so I'm attempting to stretch it out right now. My brain is flying 1,000 miles a minute, and I'm not thinking straight, and I go to the water barrel to cool it off, so I can handle it.
Oh, in the water. In the water.
File? That might not be the best idea. what happens is you have the outside starts to cool very rapidly, and the inside is still hot, so the hardened steel that's already on the outside starts to crack. Oh, no, not in the water. No.
Of course I drop it.
Maybe nothing but cracks at this point.
Just another thing that could possibly go wrong has gone wrong.
Oh, no, not in the water.
And I'm like ready to dive head first into this thing. And then I remember, oh, they've got magnets. This'll work. Where are you? Ha-ha!
She got it. There you go.
All right.
Good job, Jacques Cousteau.
Should not have quenched it in the water because it made the metal more brittle. It is what it is.
We've got Chris over here. Now, he's still having some trouble with his sports weld.
Nope, it's popped open again. Same spot's come open, and I thought I had it stuck. I've got 2/3 of this blade properly sand-mined, and I've got one spot open, but I'm realizing that no one said that the entire blade had to be coated with the outside jacket steel. Maybe if I just remove the offending piece and go with what I have, I can actually make something that works.
Chris just broke off the piece.
Good.
Just broke it off, and now just grind it and let it go. Mild
He's
steel
got
anyway.
some of that steel on both sides. You didn't say how much. You didn't say it had to cover
Exactly.
everything. You said sand mine, 3 layers.
I have to finish grinding this blade, I have to put the clip point on it, and I have to heat treat it. I still have a lot of work to do.
Riley looks like he's prepping for a quench.
I still got time to go back and fix something if something doesn't go right in the heat treat.
Riley.
Just pull this knife out of the quench.
Yep.
Looks pretty straight from here.
Interesting kind of forward curve with the drop point on it.
Sounds nice and hard.
Kirk, give me oil.
Let's hope Kirk is happy. Sounds like a hard blade.
Sure does.
By golly, the edge is hard. I'm feeling excellent. Now it's down to the details.
I think it looks great. I mean, he's taking his time. He's putting a nice hollow grind on the edge.
I don't know. I think I'm done.
I think Kirk's meditating over here.
I think Kirk is done.
I start grinding out the imperfections. I start giving it that little bit more of a clip point, trying to produce something that's gonna function and hopefully hold up to the tests. Now we're gonna get ready for the heat treat. Whew.
She's continuing to work, continuing to drive forward.
Oh, there we go.
Oh, Ray just quenched.
Oh, not too bad. I was really afraid I was gonna hear a weld popping or something like that, but there was no pop. It ain't perfect, but I did it. I'm a happy camper.
10 minutes, farriers!
Chris does not have a quenched blade at this point.
Grinding this blade, it's taking me longer than I have experienced before. I've got a little too much steel where it actually did stick, and I have to feather that down. I'm gonna shape it down as far as I can take it and heat treat it within the last 2 minutes. Work. Potato chip. So with minutes left, I have to work fast.
No
Oh, he's
fear
trying to fix the warp.
from Chris smacking that blade.
Plenty of fear from me with Chris smacking that blade.
I was able to flatten that warp out before it got cool.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Bladesmiths, shut down your machines, drop your tools. This first round in our invitational tournament is over.
My knife is a Hail Mary of a knife, but I am dang proud I was able to accomplish it.
Farriers, now it's time for the judges to take a closer look at your work. Chris, you're up first. Please present your blade to the judges.
It's dead straight, and it has a good tonto shape, but looks like you lost a piece of your San Mai in the middle there, huh?
Yeah.
I can see the spot where it starts, right here. It'll be interesting to see if you can clean it up and make it more like your drawing.
Riley, please present your work to the judges.
Your design is nice. I like it. It's got an inward curve for a slice, yet you've got a thick spine that feels like it's a chopper. The one thing is, there's a little bit of a warp there. Just a little bit of refinement with straightening out that blade so that it'll be easy to always index.
Kirk, you're up next. Please present your steel to the judges.
You're the only one who came up with a different idea. I like that. You bent a horseshoe around, put it on like a staple on the back. The weld looks nice and solid.
As far as the shape goes, great aggressive point. The tang is a little, give it maybe a little bit more something to catch the hand for a chop.
All right, Ray, please present your blade to the judges.
It's solid, I like that. It's straight, but the parameters were?
12 and 15 inches.
These are 11 inches apart. You gotta check. 10 3/4.
Ray, your blade failed to meet those parameters, so I have to ask you to please leave the forge.
Can I say goodbye first?
Yes, you may, Ray.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you, Ray.
Thank you very much.
My blade is under parameters because, unfortunately, I was not using my brain. I'm definitely disappointed. I mean, it's always upsetting to be the first one sent home. All in all, it's not a total loss. We still got 3 farriers left, and one of them's gonna end up representing us in the final part of the tournament, and that's exciting.
All right, farriers, good job. Your work has landed you in round 2 of this competition, and now that your blades have been tempered, it's time to turn them into fully functional weapons by attaching handles to them. There's one other stipulation for this round. You must include a guard in your blade's finished design. You will have 3 hours in this round in which to complete your work. So when the time runs out, your blades will be tested for strength and durability in a feed bucket stab and slice, and for edge retention in a horsehair slice. Your 3 hours starts now. The farriers are in charge of the hoof care of horses, making shoes, making their own tools. It's a very specialized form of metalworking. What gives the farriers an advantage overall in the tournament?
Most farriers I know work fast. Their projects tend to be of a smaller scale, but that ability to work on a timeline is gonna help them out.
First thing I have to do is take some material away. I pretty much have to resign my knife from a full tang to a hidden tang. Grinding away and making a hidden tang where I could slide a guard over it. To me, this would be the fastest. I'm gonna have to sacrifice time, and I might not be able to make the knife as polished and as pretty and as sharp as I was hoping to.
After I reduce the weight on that back edge for the lamination that I put on there, I'm going to make a nice heavy guard and butt cap. That's going to extend down to give that a finger stop for the swing on the chop.
You cut a slot in a piece of brass, it's gonna solder everything together. We'll have a brass pommel.
This makes a very strong, robust connection to the blade. Hopefully, I won't have it flying off in the middle of the test.
I'm hoping in round 2 I can redeem myself and make up any mistakes I made in round 1.
Chris has a lot of delamination in his blade. What does he got to do next?
He's going to grind it down to make it as finished as he can. And if there's delams that are below that, just let them go.
I've been grinding for a while now, and the flaws that the judges were concerned about don't seem to be there anymore. I think now I'm just down to finishing it up, getting the final shape, and put edge on it, and then we'll go to handle making.
1 hour has elapsed. That leaves you with 2 hours remaining to finish your work.
I find a little slab of micarta that would be just right for the handle. But because there's angles in there, there's going to be a tiny little bit of a gap, and I'm worried about fit and finish. I know that this epoxy is very runny, so I'm looking for something that is a filler to help thicken it up so it doesn't run out of the joint.
Kirk has mixed 1095 powder with epoxy. He's slathered it all over his scales. Is somehow the chemical adhesiveness of the epoxy negatively affected by the 1095 powder.
Yeah, because there's going to be spots where there's a piece of steel where a bit of glue might have been.
The handle, I choose some stabilized acrylic mix. It's very strong. Essentially, I'm taking 2 slabs and I'm boring them out either side, recessing an area for the tang to go. I go to knock some of the dust out of the scale. Whoa! Whoa! It breaks in my hand. I am astonished.
Riley has cracked his handle. This is an emergency.
I did not see it coming. It was like you were walking across the road and a city bus just came out and whacked you. Everything was looking real sweet, and I go to knock some of the dust out of the scale.
Whoa! Whoa! Riley has cracked his handle. This is an emergency.
I did not see it coming. Found a block of wood that was big enough. I'm gonna have to just cut it in half and keep moving.
I have my 2 halves of my handle I'm happy with. And the guard is exactly like a samurai sword.
Now I'm just going to slather it all up with glue and put it together into a solid package.
Now it's a matter of taking my favorite tool, the hoof rasp, and shaping it down for my final finish.
These Frier rasps are made to cut horses' hoofs, and so it's something that he's done 1,000,000 times.
Chris is fitting that handle on that knife with the same care he'd use to shoe a thoroughbred.
30 minutes remaining in this round.
At this point, I need to install the pins because they need to be in when I start final shaping on the handle.
Oh, he's going to super glue his pins in? I think he's just going to hopefully very quickly put the pins in before they stick.
The pin fits good. I'm in my home stretch now. I can actually start shaping my grip.
Now that I'm on my second go, I knew this one was gonna happen a lot faster. I got the epoxy on there. I'm just waiting for it to cure so I can finish it up. This sucks. They said it's 5-minute epoxy. It's been 6. I can't wait and watch anymore. I need to start working on the knife. And I'm feeling I'm back up to where I still have a chance at this.
I'm feeling really good because it's shaped. I've got a guard on there. I got my rivets cut.
Chris driving his pins through his handle. He's doing a pretty good job.
Look at that handle on Chris's blade. That is great. That is just such a traditional shape.
Time's running out. I'm gonna focus on getting a nice edge on there and making sure it's pretty straight, smooth. I think I'm gonna make it.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Bladesmiths, shut down your machines, drop your tools. This round of competition is over.
I feel like I had a certain redemption in round 2. I think I've got a pretty good chance as anybody to do well.
Farriers, this is the strength test. I'm going to be stabbing and chopping brutally into these feed buckets. Kirk, you're up first. You ready?
Let's do this. I am really nervous right now. I'm concerned that this will wipe out the edge on my knife, and my heart starts to pound out of my chest.
Well, Kurt, the handle is very comfortable. It did, however, pick up a little edge damage here, some rolling. Also, the tip got dulled. But in general, well done.
Thank you.
Riley, you're up. You ready?
Yeah.
Well, Riley, the handle held up well, but it was difficult to control because it's on the smaller side for a handle. Your edge took a little damage from the bucket. There's a relatively big roll right here and another one here. That being said, I love the shape of your blade. Well done.
Thank you.
Chris? Chris, you're up. You ready?
Now or never. Yeah, I'm definitely nervous because it's a culmination of a long road to get here.
Oh, boy. Oh, boy. Well, Chris, you started with a finer edge than everyone else did, and it shows in the damage. There's 4 pretty significant rolls where I was hitting. The point, however, held up very well. The handle is comfortable. If anything, it's just a little tall for my hand, but I really applaud your traditional look. I mean, you just nailed it. Very well done. Thank you.
Farriers, to see what kind of edge your weapon has, I will slash across these horse hairs. A sharp edge should cut a clean, straight line. A dull edge could rip, push it apart, or worse, do nothing at all. Kirk, you're up first. You ready?
Yes, sir.
Let's do this. All right, Kirk, first up the handle. It's comfortable. It feels like it wants to stay in my hand. Your edge. In the areas where there's some rolling of the edge, it didn't cut cleanly, but the rest of the blade is sharp. Your blade, sir, will cut. Thanks. Riley, you're next. You ready?
Yeah.
Let's do this. All right, Riley, let's talk about your blade here. There's a sense of scale that this feels like a chopper rather than a slicer because it's very forward heavy. There's not a lot of handle here to hold on to. Now your edge, where it took damage, it didn't cut all the way through. But still, for the most part, your blade will cut. All right, Chris, you're next. You ready?
Ready as I'll ever be.
Let's do this.
It's all coming down to this final sharpness test. If mine cuts as well as Kurt's, I'll be moving on to the next round.
All right, Chris, during the strength test, your edge here took some damage. As you can see, because of that and the rolling of the edge, it didn't cut all the way through. But you know what? You can still take a little bit off the top. So it will still cut.
Thank you.
All right, farriers. The judge's deliberation is complete. It's time for one of you to leave the forge. Chris, your blade didn't make the cut.
Chris, your weapon took significant damage in the strength test, dulling the edge. It really showed in the sharpness test on the horsehair. It's for that reason we're sending you home.
Please surrender your blade.
Yes, I have to agree with the judge's decision. That was pretty obvious to me watching the test. I'm definitely cheering for Riley and Kirk because I would like to see the farriers prevail. I think the farriers are some of the best working blacksmiths we have in this country.
Kirk, Riley, congratulations. You've made it into the final of this competition, which means that you're both one step closer to the Tournament of Champions. Now, we're sending you back to your home forges. It's up to you to recreate this iconic weapon from history. The mortuary sword. During the English Civil War in the mid-17th century, the mortuary sword was prized by both royalists and parliamentarian cavalry forces. A cut-and-thrust weapon, the mortuary sword typically featured a double-edged blade with fullers on both sides and terminated in a spear-point tip. Its ornate and elaborately decorated basket hilt enveloped the user's hand and wrist for protection during combat. The term mortuary is a modern classification referring to the portraits often etched into the hilts, believed to be commemorating the martyred King Charles I. Today, you can see the mortuary sword in the hit mobile strategy game Dominations. Download it today to participate in an exclusive Forged in Fire event. Gentlemen, your blade must be sharpened on both sides and include at least one fuller on each side, and you must design and build an appropriate basket hilt.
I think this blade pushes the farrier pretty out of his element. It's nothing that we really do, so I feel like we're on an even playing field right now.
You will have 5 days at your home forges to accomplish this challenge. At the end of those 5 days, you will return and present your blades to our panel of expert judges, and only after they've thoroughly tested them will they declare one of you the Forged in Fire Farrier Champion and move you forward to occupy the Farrier's Anvil at the Tournament of Champions. Good luck, bladesmiths. We'll see you in 5 days.
I'm really happy to be home. I'm gonna build the mortuary sword backwards. Today, I'm gonna start with the handle. For me, the handle is everything. If it doesn't feel right in my hand, I'm not doing my job. For the handle, I used a piece of axis deer horn. The horn is good because it has an oval shape already. It has a real grippy surface. That thing is pretty indestructible. Measurements are correct, shape is right. Everything's gonna go together good.
Back in beautiful Sheridan, Oregon, and I'm ready to get to work. It means a lot to represent farriers. I want to have a good outlook on farriers in the public eye, and I want them to think that we are good craftsmen. I'm just gonna forge the sword out today. I think that it's the base of the whole entire thing. You can't really know how big to make the handle, how big to make the pommel, how big to make the hilt, or anything until you get the sword done. As a farrier, we work in 30/2 of an inch pretty much all day long. So when it comes down to the details of this sword, I feel like my eyes will see it. It's pretty much roughed out in the forged shape. It's heavy, but I got something to work with.
It's day 3. I need to finish the bell guard and move on to the blade. Big ugly hammer marks are all gone, and I've taken off some weight. It's much improved. Time to get onto my blade. I'm gonna start on the tang. Some guys might forge it out, but I'm just going to make a slot, and I'm going to weld this high-strength bolt right in. This is gonna make it a lot stronger, lighter, and better balanced. The blade needs to be light.
I got my sword all ground out, and I'm ready to get the hilt shaped up, but I feel like I'm behind. I just want to kind of take it easy, and I don't want to make any weak spots in it, and I don't want to burn any holes in it with my torch. It's looking good, it's just tedious. My hilt is all welded together and pretty much shaped up. I'm about to normalize my blade for a couple heats, and then I'm gonna go ahead and heat treat it. I don't go into a heat treat thinking that something's gonna go wrong. I try to go into it thinking it's gonna go smooth and it's all gonna work out. All right, here we go. Most important part of the quench is just not to drop this thing going into the tube. Most important part of the quench is just not to drop this thing going into the tube. Hoop. I'm just hoping there's still a tip on it. So we just did a tip test. It passed. I don't see any bad spots. So I think we're still in business.
Day 4 is all about the blade. Grind, 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 and then finally into the heat treat. This is my quench tank. Quenching is very important for my sword in particular because it's going to be quite thin. Definitely increase the possibilities of having a warp. I'm not going to use my forge. I'm going to use this barbecue because the blade is 32 inches long and the forge is only 18. Slight curve off to my left. So I'm going to work on that a wee bit. To stand and represent farriers in this tournament would be a great honor because, you know, we're not just guys that run around and shoe horses. We are problem solvers. I think I can do a better job than most. Yep, that just pretty much takes care of it.
It started day 5, and I got to sharpen my blade, tinker with my hilt a little bit, and get my handle wrapped up. It's a sharpness test. It just cuts a circle. It's pretty cool that at the beginning of the week, this was just a piece of square stock, a block of wood, and some sheet metal. The sword has some weight to it, but all I thought about was making a strong sword that was gonna hold up during the test.
Kirk, Riley, welcome back to the forge. Now, you boys have had 5 days at your home forges to work on these mortuary swords. Kirk, how did it go?
I made a plan. I stuck to it. The blade is 5160 steel. The bell guard is stainless steel. The grip is Axis deer horn, and the pommel and the fittings are made of brass.
Riley, tell us a little bit about your weapon.
I made it from 5160, forged it all out, and then I formed the hilt pretty much from one piece, and the pommel and the nut on the bottom is all out of 4140.
Gentlemen, this is the weapons test. There will be 3, a strength test, a sharpness test, and up first, the kill test. Doug?
Farriers, to find out what kind of damage your weapon will do, I will take your sword and deliver slashes and thrusts on these big carcasses. Kirk, you're up first. You ready?
Yes, sir. I am very nervous.
All right, Kirk, your edge lacerated deeply into this carcass. Then, when you're thrusting with your point, just like butter cuts all the way in and out, your handle construction, it's ovoid enough to where I grab my hand comfortably wraps around it. For this test, sir, your weapon will kill.
Thank you.
Good job. All right, Riley, you're up next. You ready?
I guess so. I just watched Kurt's sword just drop that pig to the ground, so I'm really hoping that mine holds up and does about the same amount of duty to it.
All right, Riley. Light and fast, it is not. It's about 5 pounds. Sharp and deadly it is. Every cut is very deep on this big carcass, but maneuverability is gonna be an issue. But overall, your weapon will kill.
All right, gentlemen, it's time for the strength test, something we're calling the Battle of the Borderlands. An English sword against a Scottish shield wall. To test the overall strength of your weapon, I'll be hacking into these shields multiple times. Kirk, you're up first. You ready?
Yes, sir. Let's do this.
Here we go. All right, Kirk, this has got some weight to it, but the distribution of that weight is nice. You did take some damage, but it's a strong blade, held up. Good job.
Thank you, sir.
Riley, you ready?
I guess so.
Okay. There's a lot of sword here. If I were to hit an opponent with the first shot, he's going down. But if I miss him, I'm never gonna catch up. You did take some edge rolling, but it held up in this test, so good job.
Thank you.
All right, farriers, now it's time to find out if there's any fight left in your weapon. I'm gonna take your mortuary swords and do some harassing cuts on this arming coat. Kirk, you're up first. You ready?
Slash away.
Let's do that. right, Kirk, your edges cut easily through a very thick arming coat into the Sandman, thereby releasing the rice. Your weapon, sir, will cut. All right, Riley, it's your turn. You ready?
I guess so, man.
Let's do this.
Going into the sharpness test, I'm really hoping my sword's sharp enough, because now me and Kurt's swords are standing neck to neck.
All right, Riley, the edge that you have here cuts deep into the arming coat, into the Sandman, and releases the rice. So your blade, sir, will cut.
Kirk, Riley, in order to compete in our Tournament of Champions, you must first be a champion for the Farrier class. That champion is Kirk. Congratulations, you'll be representing the Farrier class in the Tournament of Champions. Riley, your sword didn't make the cut.
Riley, you brought us a beautiful sword, but the sheer weight of your weapon made it hard to wield it comfortably and accurately. For that reason, we're sending you home.
Riley, please surrender your sword.
Oh, it sucks, you know? It's not fun ever losing. But I'm pretty happy with the work I did, with the skill set I had. Kurt's got a lot of work ahead of him, but I know he's a hard worker like all farriers are. I'll have to go to town to watch Kurt fly because I don't got TV.
Kirk, congratulations. You are the Forged in Fire champion for the Farrier class and have earned a spot at the Farrier's Anvil in the Forged in Fire Tournament of Champions and a chance at $50,000. Please present your blade to the judges.
I'm not going to have much time to celebrate. I'm going to have to get home, shoe some horses, as well as practice making some more blades. I learned a lot on this build, and I'm ready to put what I learned to use again on another one. And that's what I'm looking forward to.
Tonight, we continue our first ever Forged in Fire Invitational Tournament. Over 5 weeks, 4 classes of metalsmithing professionals, farriers, armorers, blacksmiths, and modern metalworkers will put their blade-making skills to the test. It's the first time where all 4 of our bladesmiths come from a similar metalworking class. The winner from each class will go head-to-head for a chance at the title of tournament champion and the biggest purse ever, $50,000. Right now, round 2 belongs to the armorers. 4 armorers bring their unique skills to the forge.
I'm feeling good, yeah.
I'm so impressed with the way that these guys can move metal to compete for the honor of representing their class in the Forged in Fire Tournament of Champions.
My name is Nicholas Cochilla. Being an armorer, there's a whole lot of knowledge that has to go in to being able to make a serviceable suit of armor. There's quite a bit of math, geometry, and artistry that goes into it. Armor's hard, knives are easy.
I am Ryan Weaver. I compete in full force, full contact, steel combat. I like to point out that I'm a better lover than a fighter, but I'm still a pretty damn good fighter.
My name's Howard Noble. I am a full-time armorer. I work in the shop 6 days a week. I supply a lot of medieval groups, reenactors, collectors. By doing this, I'm hoping that people will take notice of armorers. It's not an easy job.
My name is Jacob Danker. Forging is kind of my thing. It takes me back literally to like the dawn of time where man was just trying to figure out tools. I really think that there's something like beautiful in taking a lump of steel and turning it into armor and knife, and it's just a very primal feeling.
Armorers, welcome to our first ever Forged in Fire Invitational Tournament. Today, you armorers will have to survive 3 rounds of competition designed to test every aspect of your bladesmithing capabilities. all in front of our panel of expert judges. Let's meet them now. Up first, knife maker Ben Abbott. Next, sword maker David Baker. And last, life taker Doug Markita. Here at the Forge, we pride ourselves on creating each round to separate the good from the exceptional. Today, we're gonna find the chinks in your armor using this. This should all be really familiar to you guys. While protective gear has been in use beyond written history, steel-plated armor emerged in the 13th century and became more defensive, intricate, and exquisite in the centuries following. While the advent of firearms rendered armor suiting obsolete, the craft of those armorers lived on. In fact, NASA examined a set of Henry VIII's armor when designing the first spacesuits. Your challenge is to salvage at least 3 pieces of metal from this armor and combine it with the 1095 and 15 and 20, from which you will forge a layered Damascus blade.
For an armor, the mention of Damascus is like asking if we like the hamburgers in a country we've never been to. It's just definitely outside of my comfort zone.
Keep in mind that in the second round, you'll be attaching handles to those blades, and then they'll be tested for strength and durability in a helmet chop, and for edge retention in a quilted armor slice. You'll have 10 minutes to work on your designs. You'll have 3 hours to forge your blades. Good luck. Your 10-minute design window starts now. The task at hand is to create a billet from which to forge a layered Damascus pattern blade. How difficult is this challenge?
It's harder when you're wearing a helmet, though.
I was a little concerned maybe some of the other armors would be intimidated by me and try to take me out from behind. I'm designing a blade based off of a kinjal. I'm wanting to add a little bit of mass out toward the end of the blade to help with the helmet chop.
The knife that I'm designing is definitely a chopper. I want to make sure that my blade survives the test, so it's got a heavy spine and a straight edge. The biggest concern I have is the time factor. I'm used to working on projects that take sometimes days to produce. Now I've got to do it in just a 3-hour time window. Very difficult.
I can make a knife pretty fast. You want me to make a Damascus knife in the same time is quite a challenge. I'm designing a competition chopper. Make it a little thicker than I normally would make a knife, so it withstand the impact to a helmet.
I don't think the other competitors take me very seriously. They seem kind of like old geezers, so I'm the young guy. I could come out underdog story. I'm all about the underdog. The challenges include a helmet chop and a quilted armor slice, and I feel like a Bowie is perfect for those challenges. I'm just gonna implement a sheep's foot head on it.
Your 10-minute design window is closed. Your 3-hour forge time starts now.
I really want to see these guys go above the 3 layers that they have to take.
So I see this big pile of armor. I'm thinking to myself, just don't be painted, don't be covered in oil. I get over there, and it's covered in oil, and it's painted on the back. The most important thing when doing any kind of stacked billet, make sure your metal is clean. The paint, oil can cause delamination. It's all stuff you have to grind off.
To make a Damascus, you need flat pieces of metal.
That particular piece of armor is a backplate, and that's a really good piece of steel to grab because it gives you the flat pieces you need.
I've never made a knife out of armor before, first time. So it's a new experience, learning curve just got accelerated.
An armor is different than a blacksmith because they are the expert at mapping metal around the human body and actually looking for the articulation where it needs to be. It's a very precise deal. Honestly, I'm most worried about not getting a forge weld sticking. But if I can get that weld to stick, boom, we're solid. I just got the first forge weld all tight in together. And I'm on top of the mountain just thinking, it's all gravy from here. I'm feeling good, yeah.
What's the skirt at the bottom of the breastplate called?
When it's big, it's a tunnlet.
On your hands are gauntlets, right?
Gauntlets, yeah.
Gauntlets,
Fan brace, elbow, rear brace, pauldron.
You guys are nerds,
Tweezers.
I decided to use the Poleaxe spalders, which are shoulder and upper arm covering. They're only rolled in essentially one plane, so they should be easier to flatten out.
There's Ryan having to flatten all those pieces that were curved.
Armors tend to be really focused on small details. I feel like I'm in my comfort zone as far as speed. Slow and steady wins the race.
So I'm putting my stack together, I'm trying to get it clean. I'm still sanding, trying to get my pieces clean, and I hear the power hammer going. There's guys already shaping their billets. This makes me worry. I'm already the last in line.
1 hour has elapsed. You have 2 hours remaining to finish your work. In this armorer's first round of competition, a lot more racket from Big Blue than we had in the farrier's first round of competition.
Absolutely.
Yeah, the farriers tended to do more with the hammer and less with the power tool.
You know, if you walk into an armorer's workshop, there are tools everywhere.
Howard's just drawing that billet out like it's nothing.
I want to take it a little bit past the length that I need because I welded up the end of it. I got to get rid of that. I want to hot cut that piece off the end of it, so then I've got just clean, pure Damascus to work with. I'm not using the chop saw because I don't want that billet to be cooling down because that's another loss of time. I want to get that piece cut off there as fast as I can and get that piece back into the furnace.
It looks to me like Howard's getting a little tired. I think we're seeing a kind of a hypnosis going on.
This is a step that should have just been done in just a matter of minutes, and it's just not working out. All these little frustrations really add up to a lot of time.
Ryan's starting to work that steel a little bit on the cold side.
I keep having to remind myself, I need to keep it hot. I need to keep it hot. Because in armor, I work at colder temperatures. We use sheet metal. It's a little less likely to break. Armors have to produce something that will deflect weapons, hold its structural integrity, and look good.
If I made this blade at home, I would take 3 or 4 days. Not like this. So I set the forge weld, and without thinking, I just started to draw it out. And I kind of made a mistake.
Nicholas is making a very long blade.
It's the goalie stick.
Yeah.
I drew it out a little further than I wanted. I chopped the end off, go right back to the fire, and the clock doesn't stop ticking.
I'm folding my billet over to increase the strength of it. It also helps bring out the pattern.
So it looks like Jacob has folded over his billet right there, and now he's trying to reforge weld that back together.
I'm feeling great at this point because I not only forge weld once, I forge weld twice. I know it's solid.
It looks like Jacob has set that second fold in his forge weld there. Do you see that?
If he can pull this off, that's pretty cool.
So I'm feeling like I could go for a third one.
No!
Completely goes undone.
No!
Oh, no. Jacob just went to set his last weld, and it's all over the map.
My cool is gone. I am racing my mind, trying to think, how are you gonna fix this? How are you gonna fix this? Are you gonna fix this? I'm just losing it.
Oh, no. Jacob just went to set his last weld, and it's all over the map.
What am I gonna do? I can't just draw it out and do it again.
Uh-oh.
So I do the mature thing and I just lop it off with the chop saw.
Jacob is in a little bit of trouble here.
I gotta really pull it together.
So he's just gonna flatten it out, draw it as long as he can. The question is, does he have enough steel?
I finally get that piece cut off of there.
I've never seen anyone in this forge hammer like that.
It's planishing.
That's got to be an armorer's technique right there, right?
I'm not sure that it's a normal technique for a bladesmith to planish out his piece before taking it to a grinder. For an armorer, every piece that we make is planished. What I enjoy about using those kind of techniques is that they're historical, and when you're done, the quality of the piece is far greater than anything that the power tools or a press will do for you.
Historically, armorers were a very prestigious guild If you looked like your armorer knew what he was doing, your opponents are going to approach you differently. If I can nail this heat treat, I'm in good shape. I pull it out, and it's warped. And not just a little. It's warped a long, long way. I gotta do something right now.
I remembered a trick that an old auto body guy taught me to straighten frames. You heat it up, and then you put water on the arc side, and it cools faster, so it pulls it back.
Looks like he's rapid cooling to straighten that blade.
Whew. Thank you, Wally Ashbaker.
Armorers, you have 20 minutes remaining in this round.
I'm feeling great now. I have a pretty solid blade. I still need a heat treat.
I pull it out.
God.
It's got a warp in it. You have this critical few seconds to where the steel is still a little malleable. So I decide I'm gonna use these seconds, throw it in the vise. If I break it, I'm eliminated, I'm done.
There you go to the vise.
Don't break, don't break, don't break.
I pushed it as far as I was comfortable.
There you go.
Still has a little warp, but I think I have enough material on that blade to make it straight.
In that time it took me to lose my cool, I lost a lot of time. I gotta still draw it out a few more inches. I still have to grind it. I still have to heat treat and quench it. I start feeling savage. Oh, nothing bites. I know it's good. My tang might be small, but it's big enough for pins, so it's big enough for a knife.
10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Bladesmith, shut down your machines, drop your tools. This first round of competition is over.
Time gets called. I'm feeling pretty good. And I suddenly realize it's Judgment Day, and I'm about to have my sins revealed.
All right, armorers, in this first round of competition, we asked you to create a layered steel Damascus blade. Now it's time for the judges to take a closer look at your work. Nicholas, please present your blade to the judges.
The profile is very well executed, but there's a pretty significant warp in the back and the blade. You can watch it seesaw. And there's a crack on the back of the blade right here. It runs about from here to about there. If you move forward, it'd be nice to see how you deal with that.
Ryan, you're up. Please present your blade to the judges.
Your welds look solid. It's a nice piece of steel you got here. I like the idea of the integral bolster and pommel. There's no problems with delamination or cracking. My major concern with this is the tang here. I don't know how it's gonna bulk out to be a comfortable handle, because we're gonna be chopping stuff with it, so it needs to have something to connect me to the knife.
Howard, you're up next.
There's a lot of material here. It's like a log splitter. There's kind of a big flake up here. I can see the seam run kind of all the way around it, and I can get a finger under it. But what I do like is that other than that piece up here in the front and a minor delam here, it looks solid to me.
Jacob, you're up. Please present your blade to the judges.
All right, Jacob, your struggles out there are definitely seen on the blade. Your edge is all over. The spine is warped. A lot of issues that you have to fix over here, especially where the tang meets the blade.
I kind of saw you getting into panic mode, like, I need to put a tang on there quick. And in doing that, you pinched it right at the tang transition, which is where all of the stress in the chopper is gonna come. This area right here, it'll snap. I mean, there's no doubt in my mind.
The judges have made their final decision, armorers. The person leaving the forge is Jacob. Your blade didn't make the cut.
Jacob, we watch you struggle and fight your metal till the very end. But where others have failed, you succeeded and finished and turned something in. And for that, we commend you. But at the end of the day, your blade is the least finish of all. And for that, we're sending you home.
Jacob, please surrender your blade.
I'm bummed. I'm definitely bummed, but I had a great time. First thing I do when I get home is say hi to my cat. Mittens would be proud.
All right, Armorers, congratulations. Your work has landed you in the second round of this competition. And now that your blades have been tempered, it's time to turn them into fully functional weapons by attaching handles to them so that we can test them for strength and durability in a helmet chop and for edge retention in a quilted armor slice. Good luck, Armorers. Your 3 hour starts now.
There we go, Howard to the grinder.
I had some inclusions on the curve coming down to the edge of the blade. I left enough material so I can grind those out of the blade, and that will also help lighten it up. That'll work. In the pantry, there's lots and lots of choices, but I want to keep it simple. The maple pieces that I've chosen, they're very consistent. One's not thicker than the other, so that'll make my job a lot easier.
My game plan is gotta fix the warp.
What is Nicholas doing now?
He's making a 3-bar bending jig.
Grab a piece of rebar, cut 3 chunks off, put the knife in the vise in my 3 pins.
It's not often that a smith actually pulls off his jig. I think we've seen it done successfully maybe twice.
Let's hope for 3.
I hope it doesn't break.
I can grind that.
I need to get some holes drilled in this tank. Wow, that spot is hard. Holy crap. I get about halfway through the blade, my bit breaks. My blade's just too hard. Now I have to go back and soften the tang, which takes more time. Come on, baby.
1 hour has elapsed. You have just 2 hours remaining until we test your blades.
I want to go ahead and acid etch now, see if there's any other issues in my blade, because the acid would then bring that out right away. But I can't get the top off of this acid bath.
Use your man hands.
When the pressure is on, the simplest things can really frustrate you quick. That's when you got to step back and look at other options.
There you go.
My blade came out as I had designed it, and it looks good. I'm ready to move on to the scales.
I've got my layers glued up, I've got my pins in.
There we go.
I'm happy, and now I just gotta wait 5 minutes to go by.
Now Nicholas has to wait.
Waiting on the forge floor is the hardest. I'm watching the minutes count down, and there's nothing I can do.
I get through the little trials at the drill press, so now I have to get my handle done. Okay. I need to carve the shape of my tang out so that these scales come together and match up smoothly.
He's trying to burn his handle material around his tang.
I think it's the slowest way I could imagine ever trying. Go get a rotary tool and just burn it out. You get the wood chisels.
Trying my burn in, and it's doing bugger all.
I've seen the burn-throughs for putting it through, but doing what he's doing, I don't get it.
There's a fire. There's a fire.
I'm realizing I've approached this from a bad perspective.
This is not going well for Ryan.
Oh, I'm trying my burn in, and it's doing bugger all. I'm realizing I've approached this from a bad perspective. That's not gonna work for me. Now I'm back to grinding some out and hoping I get there fast.
Armorers, you got 45 minutes left on the clock.
I left the back half of my blade a little less sharp to hold up against the helmet chop, but yet I still got a good 6 inches of cutting edge on the front of it. Hopefully, when they test the chop on it, it'll hold up to that impact on the steel. The decision I made to engineer my blade this way, it can make or break me.
The pattern of my blade turned out like a kind of a wavy W pattern. I'm pretty happy with it.
Nicholas brought a rod-guided sharpening system that gets you very precise angles. You can get a very, very good sharpening with it, but it takes a very long time.
I usually take 2 or 3 hours to get a knife sharp.
10 minutes!
I finally got through this wood. Now the epoxy's set, and I have to turn these two clunky scales into a handle.
It looks like he's in absolute panic mode.
While I'm panicking, I mess up. I have pulled too much wood away down by my pinky. There's really no time to fix this. If everybody's blades perform well, that could be what sends me home.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Armorers, this round of competition is over.
At this stage, it's in the judges' hands. We'll see what happens.
Armorers, this is the strength test. To test the strength and durability of your edge as well as the overall construction of your knives, I will be mercilessly hacking and bashing your knives into these helmets. Remember, this test is all about what the helmets do to your knives, not what the knives do to the helmets. Nicholas, you're up first. You ready?
Let's do this. There's so many things that can go wrong. It could shatter, it could splinter. Hopefully it doesn't break. Nice.
Well, Nicholas, your edge held up pretty well. The thing I don't like is this handle. It is so small that it's rocking in my hand as I'm trying to hold the thing. But all in all, it held up very well.
Thank you.
Ryan, you're up. You ready?
As ready as I'll ever be.
Well, Ryan, there's some rolling on the edge. For the most part, it held up fine. But man, this handle. Oh, I do not like this handle. It was rolling all over the place. But all in all, it held up. Well done. Howard, you're up. You ready?
I'm ready.
Well, Howard, this is still a really heavy knife. Where I was hitting the helmet, it's not sharp. I don't know if that was the helmet or it was never sharp, but it's certainly not sharp now. But it's still all in one piece, so we'll see how it does in the sharpness test.
Thank you.
Armorers, welcome to the sharpness test. To see if there's any edge left on your weapon, I will slice across this quilted armor. Quilted armors can absorb impact, so you'll need a sharp edge to cut right through them. Nicholas, you're up first. You ready?
I'm ready. Let's do this. Nice.
All right, Nicholas. First up, it's got a nice balance to it. Definitely a forward chopper. The handle's a little bit on the smaller side, but it will cut.
Thank you.
All right, Ryan, you're up next. You ready?
I'm ready.
Okay, Ryan. I like the combat feel of this blade. There is a little bit of the slight roundedness right there on the bottom of the handle. But your edge here is sharp enough to cut through the quilted armor, and it will cut. All right, Howard, it's your turn. You ready?
Yes, I am. I didn't really design my blade as well for the sharpness test. I put everything into leaving the back half heavier than the front. This is the moment of truth.
All right, Howard, it's your turn. You ready?
Yes, I am. I didn't really design my blade for the sharpness test. This is the moment of truth.
Well, Howard, we have some issues over here. I can run my hand through this. It's very stout. It's not sharp. This is an unsharpened edge. It will not cut.
Armorers, it's time for one of you to leave the forge. Howard, your blade did not make the cut.
Howard, in the sharpness test, your edge weapon didn't cut. And for that reason, we're sending you home.
Howard, please surrender your work.
My blade just didn't cut. A blade that doesn't cut is just a club. Probably should have changed my strategy a little bit and sharpened it another layer lower. I definitely feel like I did a good job in representing the armorers. Armorers definitely are the most versatile in the metal crafts. The one thing I do have to say to Nicholas and Ryan, do your best because you're representing everyone now.
Nicholas, Ryan, we're still searching for our armorer that's going to occupy that anvil at the Tournament of Champions. Now we're sending you back to your home forge just to recreate an iconic weapon from history. That weapon is... the hooded Qatar. Emerging in South India around the 16th century, the hooded Qatar was a favored close combat weapon that actually predated the classic hoodless Qatar. The hood of the hooded Qatar was designed to protect the user's hand and wrist. The blade's unique handle was designed for a punching motion, which delivered forceful blows that could pierce armor or chainmail. The Qatar didn't just see action on the battlefield, as Mughal nobility would often take pairs of Qatars on tiger hunts. Today, you can see the hooded Qatar in the hit mobile strategy game Dominations. Download it today to participate in an exclusive Forged in Fire event. Your blades must fall within the following parameters. They must be double-edged. You must have a hooded guard that completely covers the hand. Armorers, you'll have 5 days at your home forge just to complete this challenge. At the end of those 5 days, you're going to return and you're going to present those weapons to our panel of expert judges. After they've tested and examined them, they'll declare one of you the Armorer class Forged in Fire champion who gets the opportunity to move on to our Tournament of Champions. Good luck, Armorers. We'll see you in 5 days.
It's really nice to be back here in my forge, in my element. I'm excited to see Nicholas's blade. I'm really excited to see how mine beats it. All right, here goes something. I am going to attempt making my blade and the bars that go down the arm all out of one contiguous piece, because end result, I think it will be stronger. I have to be really careful about this.
Happy to be home, getting ready to start work in my own forge. I'd like to get a Damascus billet made. Damascus is a traditional steel that the Qatar would be made out of, so I'd want to stay in that traditional style. Shiny is nice, but Damascus is sexy as hell. By the end of the day, I'd really like to have the Damascus for my blade finished. So I'm getting closer to the end of day one, and I've got a little bit of a cold shunt, so I think I'm gonna spend the rest of the time grinding out that cancer, so tomorrow I can make it into a knife blade. Starting over. I got a cold shunt that goes all the way through the billet. So this is a setback. I have 4.5 hours invested in a Damascus billet that I can't use. So I think it'd be safer to start over. Son of a... What am I gonna do? So it's day 3. I feel great about my blade. It has a chopping blade that should resist against bone or coconuts or ice and do really well on that while still retaining its edge. And now onto the hood of the hooded Qatar. This is where being an armorer really starts to come into this project. I'm using the stake as essentially my anvil. Making this hood really is the armorer's skill set. It's my playground. This is my court. This is where I'm gonna shine. Start of day 3, I really feel caught up. Qatar is a rather strange shape. Doesn't fit in my quench take. a big-ass flower pot. I think that might work.
That's exactly what I didn't want to do.
I really need my heat treat to go right and make a mad dash and shove it in the flower pot. That's the sound I want to hear. So I'm gonna make a pattern for the hood for the guard. I'm gonna cut some sheet metal a little big because I'm not exactly sure where this is gonna go. End of day 3, I got a few minutes left. I'm tired, my arms hurt, I need a beer.
Today, I've worked a little time in for some added embellishments that'll pretty it up, but I don't have to put these on. My hammer work came out really nice. Now that I've got that done, I'm going to put my coloring in. My copper leaf element will be the major eye catch of this overall weapon. We're going to heat it up and give a really nice enameled finish. Yes, I'd love some coffee. Oh, bugger. I burned a hole in my copper piece. Ah. My daughter's distracted me for a minute, and now I'm kind of buggered. I really don't want to scrap this copper, but there's really no time to fix this. Oh, bugger. I just burned away a big hole in my copper, and so now I need to cover it up, or the whole process was a waste. So this brass piece, I will put 2 holes through this from the inside of the hood so that it rolls over the end of this that's burned off, and I'm pretty sure we're fine.
This last day, I have a little polishing, a little blackening, a little etching, and a little assembly, and then I'll sharpen the blade and I'm done. Down the blade, I'm gonna write Forged in Fire in Hindi, and on the guard, I'm gonna have the names of all my competitors in Hindi too. Blackening stuff is terrible in this chemical process. It smells like rotten eggs. It just makes you want to puke. Pow! Well, parts come off, so I think it's working. Yeah. I made a good guitar.
Nicholas, Ryan, welcome back to the Forge. You armorers have had 5 days at your home forges to work on finale weapons. What's on the line? $50,000 and that position at the Armorer's Anvil in our Tournament of Champions. Now that your work is done, why don't you tell the judges about it? Nick, you're up first.
I made the blade out of 5160. The guard is 4130, heat treated and blackened. The frame for the handle is a Turkish twist, 15N20 and 1095.
Ryan, how'd it go for you at your home forge?
I utilized 5160 for my blade. The hood itself is 4130 chromoly that's been blackened and heat treated. And then I've added a copper embellishment for some of the accents.
All right, gentlemen, well, your weapons will now be put through a series of 3 tests: a strength test, a sharpness test, and up first, the kill test. Doug?
Armorers, I've been looking forward to this. The hooded Qatar. It's a big daddy of punch daggers. To find out what kind of lethal damage your weapon will do, I will take your weapon and deliver thrusts and slashes on this big carcass. Nicholas, you're up first. You ready?
Oh, yeah.
Let's do this.
Nice. Pig carcass. I think it's just gonna destroy it. It's gonna stab right through that thing and just chop it up into bits.
All right, Nicholas, let's talk about your hooded Qatar. First up, with the kind of bounce it has, wherever I point, it follows with a tip. On its slashing, well, as you can see, pork chops. Your hood Qatar will kill.
Nice.
All right, Ryan, your turn. You ready?
Yeah.
Let's do this. All right, Ryan, let's talk about your hooded Qatar here. Your blade. It has a very good form right here, and it went all the way through the pig every time. But your edge, it's not sharp enough to cut through the pig. But overall, because of the lethal kind of thrust that this will do to any human body, your weapon will kill.
Armorers, to test the strength and durability of your edge as well as the overall construction of your Qatars, I'm going to be stabbing and bashing into these suits of armor and van braces. Remember, this test is all about what the armor does to your Qatars and not what the Qatar does to the armor. Nicholas, you're up first. You ready?
I'm ready. Hit it hard.
No other way to do it. Well, first things first, Nicholas, there is a little bit of glinting on the edge from contact with the armor. The hourglass shape you have here, it was banging me here and on the back of the wrist as well. But in general, it held up really well. Well done.
Thank you.
Ryan, you're up. You ready?
Yes, sir.
All right, let's do this.
Well played.
Well, Ryan, your blade held up really well. There's a little glinting. I like how the longets are wide. They stay out of the way of my arm. They don't bang into me. I love the styling. Beautiful. In all, it held up really well.
Thank you, sir.
All right, gentlemen, to test the sharpness of your blade, I'll be attacking our cane man here. So, Nicholas, you're up first. You ready for this?
I'm ready. Let's do it. Nice.
All right, Nicholas, design-wise, these sharp corners, man, that's just straight up dangerous. They're skin-tearing monsters, but it's sharp. It's a good cutter.
Thank you.
Ryan, you're up. You ready?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
I had trouble cutting the pig, and now we're back to sharp. I don't know how I'm gonna do on this.
Ryan, you're up. You ready?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
I had trouble cutting the pig, and now we're back to sharp. I don't know how I'm gonna do on this.
All right. What we've got here, your blade is definitely sharp. I can feel that sharp edge, but it's a very obtuse edge. It kind of gets thick quickly. When you cut with this weapon, you're cutting down this way, so having that support along your wrist is a good thing. I think you did a beautiful job. It's definitely a cutter. Well done.
Thank you, sir.
Nicholas, Ryan, only one of you can move forward to the Tournament of Champions to represent the armorer class, and that armorer is Nicholas. Congratulations, you are the Forged in Fire champion for the armorer class. Ryan, unfortunately, your blade did not make the cut.
In the kill test, I tried multiple times with your edge to slice the pig open, and it just wouldn't do that. It's for that reason we're sending you home.
Ryan, please surrender your hooded Qatar.
Now that I'm going home, I'm gonna get really busy kicking out armor. I will probably do some more blades in the future because they liked what I did. I think Nicholas is gonna do great in the Tournament of Champions. He's got a lot of skill, he's got a really good head on his shoulders, and that's what matters at the end of the day.
Nicholas, congratulations. You are the Forged in Fire champion for the armorer class. You'll be moving forward into our Tournament of Champions to fight for the title and a check for $50,000. How you feeling right now?
This is amazing. Thank you guys very much. I had a wonderful time.
Please present your Qatar to your judges.
I am the Forged in Fire champion. Boom.
Made it to the Tournament of Champions. I get to represent the armorers, and I get to show the metalworkers, farriers, and blacksmiths how to make a knife. I really can't wait. I'm really interested to see what the Tournament of Champions is going to bring me.
Tonight, we continue our first ever Forged in Fire Invitational Tournament. Over 5 weeks, 4 classes of metalsmithing professionals, farriers, armorers, blacksmiths, and modern metalworkers will put their blade-making skills to the test. It's the first time where all 4 of our bladesmiths come from a similar metalworking class. The winner from each class will go head-to-head for a chance at the title of tournament champion and the biggest purse ever, $50,000. Right now, round 3 belongs to the blacksmiths. 4 blacksmiths bring their unique skills to the forge.
Blacksmiths are the all-around, all-purpose metal workers.
To compete for the honor of representing their class in the Forged in Fire Tournament of Champions.
I'm Derek Kemper. I got started in blacksmithing in high school. I wanted to learn all of it. I wanted to be a farrier, I wanted to do ornamental smithing, and I wanted to do knife making, of course, because every teenage boy wants to make knives.
My name is Carl Dunn. If I see something and like it, whether it be hooks, tools, knives, I feel compelled to try and make it. Why buy it for $30 when you can make it for $600?
My name's Charlie Carpenter. I live just south of St. Louis, Missouri. My grandfather was basically the town blacksmith, and my dad has always kind of tinkered with it. So blacksmithing and bladesmithing was just kind of the next logical step for me.
My name is Tony Rode. I was a landscaper for many years, but I had a back injury that didn't allow me to do that anymore. My resume used to read, might not be smart, but I can sure lift a lot. Now my resume reads, still not smart, and now I can't lift a lot. So I started making knives.
Blacksmiths, welcome to our first ever Forged in Fire Invitational Tournament. Today, you blacksmiths will have to survive a competition in 3 rounds that is specifically designed to test every aspect of your bladesmithing capabilities. You'll have to compete against one another to earn a spot at the Blacksmith's Anvil in our Invitational Tournament of Champions, all in front of our panel of expert judges. Up first, 2-time Forged in Fire champion, Ben Abbott. Historic weapons recreation specialist, David Baker. Edged weapons specialist, Doug Marcaida. Gentlemen, you'll need every tool in your toolbox to win. Plus, maybe some of these.
Just as he's grabbing that thing, the anticipation, it's like, what's it gonna be? It's a car. It's crap from somebody's garden shed.
Some tools from our toolbox.
And it's like, okay, take a breath, look at it, pick something, and go.
You'll have to harvest steel from these tools to forge signature Damascus blades. Your blades must have a drop point through tang and have an edge between 12 and 15 inches as measured from tip to plunge grind. And in the second round, you'll be attaching handles to those blades to turn them into fully functioning weapons that will be tested for strength and durability in a fire brick chop, and for edge retention in a grinder belt slice. You will have 10 minutes to work on your designs. You will have 3 hours to forge your blades. And one more thing, you'll be using these. This is a 2-inch by 2-inch can.
Oh, crap. I've only been monkeying with Canister for a month or 2. And a 2x2 cube is not sufficient to make a blade this large. So automatically I know, well, it's gonna take 2 or 3.
Good luck, bladesmiths. 10-minute design window starts now. These blacksmiths have to make drop point through tang Damascus blades. What is a drop point exactly?
Drop point is where the top of your knife towards the point comes down and meets the point.
They tend not to be symmetrical. Like a spear point, it's symmetrical, whereas the drop point tends to have a cutting edge, and then the top sort of gently drops.
If you all pull knives, I'll pull one out too.
I'm going to make some form of the Viking sax because I love Scandinavian culture. When you pick it up, I want it to feel like it's actually 200 or 300 years old and it came from Scandinavia.
I'm going to make just a drop point camp knife or something that would handle what they were going to do to it. Being a blacksmith, the advantage that it brings to the competition, I think, is just the ability to see the task at hand, make the calculations on what has to happen.
How many of those cubes do you think it'll take to make a knife between 12 and 15 inches in length?
We always say forge thick. Use 2 cans. It's always good to have more so that you can work your way down.
I don't usually draw my knives out, so I just start doodling. I might as well doodle something that looks like a chopper. I'm kind of going for almost an axe-like edge on it than a knife-like edge, just because I know it's going to be bashed into bricks.
I'm going to be making a drop point modified hunter. It's got a slight recurve, so it'll be good for the slicing, but it's got a lot of meat in the spine, so when they whack at the brick, it'll do well.
Bladesmiths, this 10-minute design period is closed. Grab your steel. Your 3-hour forge time starts now.
Talk to me a little bit about metal selection.
They should be grabbing things that are easy to manipulate into the cubes, and bits of chain, fish hooks, anything you could pack in there rapidly and get to making.
I start by grabbing a shovel. It's thin material. It'll give me somewhat of a pattern. I'm going to see what I can make work here.
Derek has cut, it looks like 4 separate slots up that shovel, and now he's dropping off pieces. Actually, a really efficient way to do this.
Yeah, sure.
This is only the second time I've really done a canister type weld.
Should they be peeling the cans? Does it matter?
Leave that can on because, remember, those cans are mild steel.
My plan is to make the cube part of the blade, because that way I don't have to fool with trying to get it off.
I figure this spring is going to go good for me because it's a small enough spring that I can cut into small pieces pretty quickly, get them cleaned up, and then get them so they fit in the cube.
That coil spring, it's got a really thick coating on the outside of it. I don't know if that's a paint.
All of a sudden, it's taking me longer than I thought it would.
There's other steel in there that's more readily available.
I'm using fish hooks because they're clean, they're small, they'll fit in the can. It's going to heat up quickly because there's not as much mass in the metal.
Carl's got the liquid paper. He's coating the inside of those canisters. Not a bad idea.
The items that I picked out of the pile are the chisels and the rasp. Those should be hardenable. Working on these cubes, I mean, it's the first time I've ever done it. But in the blacksmith shop, you have to adapt and try to figure it out on the fly. I don't know how much I can get out of a cube. So build 3 cubes. But one of those, I've got this volcano going on in there that I'm not comfortable with.
Is that powdered steel burning up?
It is. There's some just on the outside of the can, or there's a relatively big hole in the can and the stuff is pouring out.
That is not good. I just throw the thing on the floor and you keep going.
1 hour has elapsed! You only have 2 hours remaining!
Historically, blacksmiths pretty much work with all kinds of metal, making so many different things. But no matter whether you're a blacksmith, armorer, or a farrier, what matters is your skill as a knife maker.
I needed to cut the tops off these 2 cans so that I can forge weld them together. Leaving as much of the jacket as possible will save time, because I've seen so many people struggle with trying to get these cases off.
Oh, yeah.
If I don't get these to weld together properly, I'm just gonna have a ruined bar of steel, and that's it, I'm going home.
So it looks like Derek has his cubes welded together end to end, like building blocks.
Smart, because remember, he's got the canister material around the outside. So if he cut off the ends, he could stack them upright and forge weld them that way.
Do you trust that weld?
Solid weld, that's a solid weld.
I am really looking to try to pay for my wedding. We postponed our wedding for me to be able to do this. So here we are.
I go to start removing the canister. It just does not want to come off. I haven't even addressed the other can yet. I decide I'm just gonna try to grind off one side, leave the mild steel on, and expose enough of the hardenable steel so I have a good cutting edge.
Ain't gonna be my best work.
Tony, just ground the can off the faces with an angle grinder. I think he's setting up for a forge wall right now.
Nice. He'll have a longer, thicker blade, more stuff to work with. I abandoned one can because it didn't feel like it was welded up. So I've got these two that are pretty solid steel. I wasn't able to get the cans off clean, so I'm gonna weld them together with the cans on. Hopefully I can grind away enough steel to reveal that good steel.
I'm feeling pretty good. Heated it, fluxed it. I'm moving forward. I'm forging the shape.
Carl is drawing that blade out quite a bit. Looks good.
Yeah, it does too.
As I'm starting to forge in the tip, I noticed that a couple of the wells at the very end are starting to fold open. I gotta tell you, I'm panicking.
Carl's doing these little tippy taps with his hammer, but that steel's not hard enough to forge weld, so I don't really know what he's doing.
Ah, it's not forged, it's not set.
Maybe you're just trying to close up void.
Well, it's not set. Carl's walking away from his forge, sweating quite profusely.
If I can't figure out how to get these things closed up or ground off, I'm going home. I noticed that a couple of the wells at the very end are starting to fold open. I gotta tell you, I'm panicking.
Well, it's not set.
Man, that clock is moving fast. I've got to get these things closed up or it'll just fail. So I have to make a quick decision rather than a perfect decision.
Got to be able to problem solve on the fly.
So I decide to cut off 1/4 of an inch of that steel at the edge. I'm just going to have to forge the tip again.
Come on, Charlie, so close.
Getting this stupid canister off of there is really putting me behind. I've got not much time to get a billet made.
Starting to see all the frustration because he feels like he's behind.
I can't get the damn thing off of there. So I just totally gave up on it. The clock is ticking, and I've got to keep going.
Charlie's second can is underneath this forge over there.
I've got one canister at this point, but I know there's nowhere near enough material there to make a knife to meet the parameters. So I grab a leaf spring and then sandwich those on either side. The easy part is what I've been doing so far, and now I've got to start hammering, or my ass is melting down. I got to start making something that looks like a knife.
I've got a nice billet. I know that drawing out the blade is going to be my strong point.
I like his hammer technique. That's good to see.
Let's talk a little bit about Derek's blade.
With that curve, when you're hitting a brick, it's only going to hit in 2 places, leaving that curve nice and sharp. Instead of having a blade that's flat and coming down flat and dulling the whole edge, it's kind of a genius design.
At this point, I'm jumping back and forth between Big Blue and the press, trying to do as much as possible to draw this beast out.
Tony needs to start putting a bevel on his blade.
Yeah, I know, it's still thick.
The pressure is just about getting to me. I still need to get my tang thinned out. I know I need to kick her up a notch.
The preparation time they took, they were very meticulous about their steel and everything else, but kind of works against them when you're in a time competition.
None of our smiths have quenched their blades yet. I think that Carl is heating up his oil.
My blade's got a rough shape to it. It's not terribly thin, not terribly thick, so I feel like I'm in pretty good shape. But I see some D-lambs.
So I've got my quench coming up, and I'm pretty concerned about some D-lambs. That could always cause it to crack or warp, but I will turn in a knife. I will die before I do not turn in a knife. There we go, there's a quench right there from Carl.
It feels like it's pretty good. I don't hear a tink, I don't hear a crack.
It's like Tony just quenched. There you go, Derek, quenched.
My blade is ugly. It's nowhere near where I would like. I've got a little bit of what looks like cold shuts along the top edge and the bottom edge. The top edge is that backside of that mild steel from the canister.
5 minutes, blacksmiths! 5 minutes!
I am definitely concerned about the quench. The clock is ticking ridiculously fast. I'm feeling really, really nervous. You're a mother. I hope I have enough time. It's gonna be close, really close.
Charlie waiting until the last 3 minutes. to make this happen?
I've got to get this thing into the quench.
Charlie's put himself in a corner, because once he quenches, it's going to be stuck with what he gets.
30 seconds!
Would I like my blade to be a whole lot better? Hell yeah, but it is what it is at this point.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Bladesmith, shut down your machines, drop your tools.
This round is over.
It's really amazing to be part of this invitational tournament as a blacksmith. I think I have some issues with the blade, but I also think if I get to move forward, I've got enough meat on that blade to correct them.
All right, blacksmiths. Now it's time for the judges to take a closer look at your work. Derek, you're up first. Please present your blade to the judges.
Well, Derek, I like the shape you have here. It's going to be a good chopper. The one thing that gives me the most pause, however, is the way you welded those two cans together. The seam runs from the blade to the spine right about at the place where most of the stress is going to occur. If this gets to testing, I'm interested to see how it holds up at that spot.
Carl, you're up. Please present your blade to the judges.
I like that shape. It's solid for a chopper. The only thing I worry about is there are some seams visible along the spine. The question is, how deep do they go?
All right, Carl, for a through tang, it almost looks like a full tang. I want to see a more defined through tang. But overall, I like the way it looks. Good job.
Tony, please present your work to the judges.
Well, Tony, on profile, I like the shape that you have. But when you look at it sideways, it's as thick in the spine as it is on the edge. That being said, though, it's a solid piece.
Thank you. Charlie, you're up. Please present your work to the judges.
Well, Charlie, first off, this is a great shape for a chopper. I like that you dropped the handle a little bit, but there's a cold shut. And that's a dangerous place to have mechanical issues.
Right up the spine of the blade, I can see a seam running this way, and again, a seam here. I have a little bit of a worry that that might come popping loose when you start grinding on this.
Blacksmiths, the judges have made their final decision. It's time for one of you to leave the forge. Charlie, your blade didn't make the cut.
Charlie, the multiple seams in your blade and that cold shut right at the junction of your tang could pose a serious risk in testing. That's why we're letting you go.
Charlie, it's that time. Please surrender your blade.
I definitely didn't want to go out in the first round. I didn't want to go out in the second round either. I wanted a spot at the blacksmith's anvil. From here, I go back to forging blades in my time, not in 3 hours.
All right, blacksmiths, you've made it to the second round of this competition. And now that your blades have been tempered, it's time to turn them into fully functional weapons by attaching handles to them. Just one more stipulation. You also need to fashion and attach a pommel to your through tang. At stake, the blacksmith's anvil at our Tournament of Champions, and ultimately, $50,000. Good luck, bladesmiths. Your 3 hour starts now. These guys not only have to address the flaws in their blades, these blacksmiths also have to fashion pummels. Now, we look at Carl's blade, he's got that really wide through tang. So a lot of grinding for that guy.
I need to start thinning that down, reshaping it so that I can fit a comfortable handle on that blade.
That tang has taken on an entirely different shape. It's done a really good job of thinning it out.
Now it's time to address the delams.
His blade alone has a lot of delaminations around the edge and the spine, so grinding all that and then finding out what's underneath, he's got to be very careful with that.
My first task at hand is to address some of the things that the judges have pointed out.
Derek had kind of a seam running down the middle of his blade.
The big problem I have with this particular weld being in its place on the knife, that makes it a weak spot.
It would be a shame to see such great creativity come undone in the testing.
As soon as I get into heavy grinding, I'm seeing that the weld flaws that the judges were seeing were actually just superficial. Thank God.
I'm starting out with kind of a hollow grind. I just want to get that edge down a little bit closer and then start working back from there.
because I had a lot of meat on the edge to get rid of.
Tony really needs to turn that thing up if he wants to take anything off.
I'm more concerned about making it through the brick test than the belt slice. That's why I want to leave a thicker edge on it, more like an axe. The thinner the edge, the more likely it is going to roll or chip.
They've got 2 tests. They need to design for both of them, not just one.
Hopefully, it holds up so it'll still cut.
Blacksmiths, you have 2 hours remaining until the weapons tests.
I do a lot of woodworking, so I'm familiar with shaping wood.
We've asked these smiths to make a pommel. Definition is a protrusion or a globe at the end of a handle. It's a counterbalance weight.
Got my handle on. Now I'm going to put this pommel on. Never really done that before, so I'm a little shaky on exactly how to do that.
Looks like Derek is making a guard out of the antler.
We didn't tell these guys they had to make guards.
This antler, it's just going to be shaped in a way that's going to keep your hand from sliding forward onto the blade.
He definitely has a piece of brass that's going to be big enough to be considered a pummel.
I'm feeling good. It's feeling like I should be able to pull that off pretty quickly.
45 minutes remaining to finish your work.
I get the tang shaped right about where I want it. I gotta start making the handle now. And I grab this piece of orange burl wood because I've worked with it a lot. Now I'm trying to, as gently as I can, kind of form fit it. But the handle's not fitting. It's taking me longer than I wanted to, and the clock is still ticking. Well, I have to do something. So I try banging on it.
Oh, no. No, Tony. I'm
giving it a couple little love taps.
Tapping a handle into place is a bad idea.
Burl, even though it's stabilized, is still very brittle.
Can we not do that?
I just have a little bit further to go. Son of a...
He cracked his handle. Oh, my God.
Now I have to start over with a brand new handle from scratch. I've got the handle so close to where I want it.
It doesn't matter how tough your handle material is. You can't hammer it on there.
Son of a... There's a significant crack in it.
So now Tony has to start over on this handle.
Grab my carter, I can start drilling. I don't know if I can get this done or not.
It's 38 minutes, 4 seconds, definitely some pressure.
I finally finished my fine-tuning on the handle. For the test, we know we're going to chop on a fire brick, so I've got to put a pretty hefty edge on this thing.
So I finally got everything sorted out, and I'm thinking, with the last 15 minutes, let's etch this blade. Let's see if I do have anything that I can't see as far as delams.
Cooler pattern than I expected it to be. Hell yeah.
So the acid that we have in our acid baths is ferric chloride.
Yeah, so if you dip the steel into the acid, the hardened steel is black, and then the back of the steel gets just sort of gray.
Okay.
I am extremely worried that I'm not going to be able to finish.
I'm hitting bricks right now with looking at the clock. I've never put a pommel on, so this is a first for me. I gotta get this handle shaped, get it sharpened.
I head over to the grinder, and I'm jumping between the blade and handle, trying to produce something that will work.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Blacksmiths, drop your tools. This round is over.
I didn't have time to get the edge I want on it, but I still feel that I have a chance.
Hello, blacksmiths. Welcome to the strength test. To test the strength of your edge as well as the overall construction of your knives, I'm gonna bash them into these fire bricks. Remember, this test is all about what the bricks do to your knives and not what the knives do to the bricks. Derek, you're up first. You ready?
Sure, why not? All the judges seem to have been worried about the seams where the blocks joined. This thing could break in half as soon as he hits it.
Well, Derek, most importantly, your forge weld held up. Nervous? I like the feeling of your handle. The weight is good, but you now have a serrated blade. The fire breaks did some chipping on your blade here. Carl, are you ready?
100%.
Just do it slow.
Slow and easy. That's not happening. Well, Carl, I like the weight of it. There's some chipping and rolling at the edge here. You now have a serrated blade as well. Everything held up, it's all tight. Nothing came loose on it. Well done.
Thank you.
Tony, what are you thinking?
Tear it up. I see Derek's and Carl's blades damaged. Now I'm feeling really confident because I know my blade has some good heft to it.
Well, Tony, your edge held up pretty well, but that's to be expected. There's so much mass in this thing. There is some edge deflection here and a little chipping, but not too much, just because it is such a stout blade. But everything is still tight. Well done.
Thank you.
Blacksmiths. To find out if your blades are still sharp, I will take your weapon and slash across these grinder belts. You will need a sharp edge. Derek, you're up first. You ready?
Sure, let's do it.
All right, Derek, there's a lot of rolled edges in here. It's sharp enough to cut to the first and a little bit of the second belt, but it did not cut the rest. So, your blade, sir, will cut a little. Ha. All right, Carl, you're up next. You ready?
100%.
Let's do this. All right, Carl. During the test with those bricks, it dulled the edges. In slashing with that, it cut even less on the first belt. Overall, sir, your blade will cut even less. Yeah. All right, Tony, it's your turn. You ready?
Tear it up. Going into the slice test, I feel pretty good about my chances. I know I don't have the edge that I want, but because of the sheer weight, I'm thinking he's gonna blow through all of them. Going into the slice test, I feel pretty good about my chances because of the sheer weight. I'm thinking he's gonna blow through all of them.
Well, Tony, I was really concerned watching your edge earlier, how thick it is, like an axe head. That, coupled with testing this on the bricks earlier, really took out all the edges that you had there. It just bounced off. So unfortunately, Tony, your blade will not cut.
Blacksmiths, the judges have made their final decision. For one of you, the road to Tournament of Champions and $50,000 ends right here. Tony, your blade didn't make the cut.
Tony, while every blade took some damage in a very grueling strength test, the obtuse edge you put on yours made it so it didn't cut. And it's for that reason we're sending you home.
Understood.
Tony, Please surrender your blade.
I feel like I represented blacksmiths well. I accomplished some tasks that were virtually impossible in very little time. And I feel like I'm going home a winner no matter what.
Derek, Carl, congratulations. You've both made it into the third round of this competition. Now we're sending you back to your home forges to work on an iconic weapon from history. That weapon is the knightly poleaxe. The favorite weapon of European knights from the 14th through 16th centuries, the knightly poleaxe was a versatile and brutal tool of war. Its multi-part construction featured an axe blade, hammerhead, and a spike mounted to a long shaft. It was ideal for combat against armor-clad opponents, allowing knights to keep their distance while delivering deadly strikes that could crush and pierce armor. Although poleaxes faded from the battlefield by the 18th century, today you can see the knightly poleaxe in the hit mobile strategy game Dominations. Download it today to participate in an exclusive Forged in Fire event. Your weapons must fall within the following parameters. You must include a top spike, an axe, a hammerhead, and longes on both sides of the shaft, as well as a guard below the longes.
It's got a spike on the top and a blade on the front and a hammer on the back. How in the hell am I going to be able to put this thing together? It's got me a little concerned.
You will have 5 days at your home forge to complete this challenge. After 5 days, you'll be presenting them to our panel of expert judges. And only after they've thoroughly tested them will they declare one of you the Forged in Fire champion for the Blacksmith class and send you on to the Tournament of Champions. Good luck, blacksmiths. We'll see you in 5 days.
I love this shop. This place is like my sanctuary. Working in a traditional fashion is important to me to perpetuate this craft. As a blacksmith, you have to make tools to accomplish the task at hand. So I will be producing some tools for this job. With the poleaxe, creating an eye without using a milling machine or some other modern method is very challenging, but I'm a blacksmith. I'm gonna do it how a blacksmith should do it. Today I got 3 tools done. The punch for creating the hole, the drift for making the hole the correct size and shape. I also made the dies that's gonna help me create the shape that is gonna be the hammer.
The poleaxe is kind of 3 weapons in one, and it's at the end of a long stick, so it's gonna be a challenge. I don't have a power hammer, I don't have a press. I'm gonna have to be a little more creative in how I put it together rather than just try to beat it out of a single piece of steel. The 2 pieces of 7-inch 5160. I'm gonna try to forge weld those together, then draw that out to be the face of my axe. I'm gonna let it cool off, and then I'm gonna try to break it. I'm happy.
The most critical part of today is getting the hole correct. If it's too small, your handle's gonna break off. If it's too large, it's gonna be too cumbersome and too heavy. At this point, I can move to drawing out the axe. I'm finding that I'm coming a little short on material here. What I'm gonna do is I'm gonna have this curved in a little bit more than it is, so that as I forge this thickness out, it'll spread and force these into a nice fan shape. And that, folks, is an axe.
Day 3, gonna start working on the wood shafts. Cutting this in half will allow me to put a groove in the top and the bottom to accept the pommel and the spike. I could take those things and beat them against a wall all day long, and I doubt they'd break. Welding up the face of the hammer. The blacksmith world doesn't want me to weld this on. To hide the weld, I'm gonna put it inside the H here. It's sacrificing authenticity. But a modern blacksmith uses all the modern tools, and a welder's a modern tool.
Bottom of that's actually at perfect temperature right now. I'm gonna put just the end of this thing in here. I'm gonna harden the head. If this goes wrong, you definitely don't have enough time to make another one. It's this or nothing. Oh yeah, she's hard as can be.
I'm starting to assemble. The first thing I do is put the head on, tighten it down. I mean, that thing's not going anywhere. Then I put the lingettes on. Everything's fine. I'm moving right along here. And I hear a kink. Oh, damn. There's a crack. Oh! And the pommel's loose. Damn. Man, Forged in Fire bites your ass in again. I come up with a solution. It's not the best, but it's a solution. I have to fix the nail, I have to peen over the pommel, and it's like I'm running out of time. Wish me luck. That is ugly.
This is my final assembly. There's no glue in this fit up whatsoever. The best part about making something like this is testing it. Holy. I just broke my weapon with almost no time to spare. This is seriously devastating. I have barely any time left, and I've got to get the spike put back on. I just broke my weapon with almost no time to spare. All right, got the spike. I'm gonna go do some magic. I'm really hoping that this arc weld is gonna be stronger than what I had before. I started arc welding a grand total of 3 weeks ago. I just don't know that everything's gonna hold together. This could be the difference between winning and losing.
Derek, Carl, welcome back to the Forge. You blacksmiths have had 5 days at your home forges to personalize your nightly poleaxes. Derek, how did it go for you?
I decided to go as traditional as I possibly could with this. The hammer and axe is W1, the spike is 1084, and all the other parts are wrought iron. It's freaking evil. I love it.
And you, Carl?
All the metal parts are made from 5160. Copper accents, the guards hand spun, and the pommel was cast from recycled copper.
All right, gentlemen. To determine which of you is our Forged in Fire champion for the Blacksmiths class, the judges will now put your weapons through a series of 3 tests. There will be a strength test, a sharpness test, and up first, Doug's kill test.
Yeah.
Blacksmiths, to find out what kind of lethal damage your poleaxe will do, I will take your poleaxe and deliver mayhem on this ballistics dummy. Derek, you're up first. You ready?
Oh, yeah.
Let's do this.
I'm really excited to see how this thing cuts. The blacksmith's anvil is at stake here, and I want it. Oh my God. Yeah.
All right, Derek, you wanted to know what kind of carnage it will do? There you go. Your axe is sharp, and your spike here penetrated with every thrust. So your weapon, sir, will kill. All right, Carl, it's your turn. You ready?
100%.
Let's do this.
I hope mine can perform as well as that. The thing you live for is it will kill.
All right, Carl, your hammerhead definitely crushes and goes right into that, breaking the sternum and the ribs. Your axe here is sharp. Here's the issue. It's so top heavy. When you're coming forward, well and good, but the recovery feels like I'm wasting energy. Overall, though, your weapon will destruct and kill.
All right, gentlemen, what I'll do to test the strength of your blades is try to break through that door. Now, this test is not about what your axes do to this door, but what this door does to your axes. Back you up first, you ready?
All right, let's get weird. Now I'm concerned. We're gonna hit a door a bunch of times. I'm expecting to see my spike fly across the shop. I broke it off in my own testing. I was able to weld it back on, but I have absolutely no idea how this weld is gonna work out. The spike's the tripping point that could send me home.
Back you up first, you ready?
All right, let's get weird. I'm expecting to see my spike fly across the shop. The spike's the tripping point that could send me home.
There's not a mark on this.
Okay.
Just no damage, no rolling. Everything's still tight. It's a strong weapon. Nicely done. Good job.
Awesome. Thank you.
All right, Carl, your turn. You ready?
100%.
Okay. Okay, Carl, before I pass this off to Doug for a sharpness test, I have some questions about the construction of this head.
Okay.
Was this a solid piece going from this side to this side?
No, it's MIG welded to the tang of the spear on the inside.
You mean the hammerhead is MIG welded on?
Correct.
So this means that that MIG weld has broken. Because, okay, that's what I didn't want to have happen.
Carl, unfortunately, your weapon has suffered a catastrophic failure in the middle of our strength test and can no longer be tested safely. And for that reason, I have to ask you to please leave the forge.
Thank you. I'm disappointed. I'm a very competitive person, but I have absolutely 100% zero regrets. The whole idea for me is I wanted to see what I could do and how far I could push myself. First thing I'm gonna do when I get home, gonna kiss my wife, have an adult beverage, and think about what the next project is.
Derek, congratulations. You are the Forged and Fire champion for the Blacksmith class. We're going to be moving you forward into our Tournament of Champions, where you'll compete for $50,000 and the title of Tournament Champion. How you feeling right now?
It's weird, man. It's real weird. I'm super stoked right now. It feels really good to represent for the Blacksmith's Anvil. It's gonna be freaking awesome. Other smiths better watch out, because the blacksmiths are coming.
Tonight, we continue our first ever Forged in Fire Invitational Tournament. Over 5 weeks, 4 classes of metalsmithing professionals, farriers, armorers, blacksmiths, and modern metalworkers will put their blade-making skills to the test. It's the first time where all 4 of our bladesmiths come from a similar metalworking class. The winner from each class will go head-to-head for a chance at the title of Tournament Champion and the biggest purse ever, $50,000. Right now, round 4 belongs to the modern metal workers. 4 metal workers bring their unique skills to the forge. These are guys that are used to contributing to larger metal structures to compete for the honor of representing their class in the Forged in Fire Tournament of Champions.
My name is Roger LaBrache. My friends call me Grizz because I had a run-in with a bear when I was hiking. Being a metalworker is so varied in forging roses or a carport cover. It's a whole different world.
My name is Rick Rabjohn, and I've been working with metal all my life. I think the metalworkers have an edge because we've been doing a number of things: bladesmithing, blacksmithing, farrier work, welding, you name it.
My name is Henry Massey. I see a metalworker as being both utilitarian and artistic. It's something that Would include everything from fabrication to sculpture work to knives, of course.
My name is Dave Parthmore. I'm a bit and spur maker. It's like jewelry for horses. As a metal worker, you pretty much wear every hat. Hopefully I'll do well. I would hate to go out there and make a fool of myself.
Modern metal workers, welcome to our first ever Forged in Fire Invitational Tournament. You'll have to compete against one another to earn a place at the Modern Metal Workers Anvil in our Invitational Tournament of Champions, all in front of a panel of expert judges. Let's meet them now. Up first, two-time Forged in Fire champion, Ben Abbott. Historic weapons recreation specialist, David Baker. And last, edged weapons specialist, Doug Marcaida. Modern metal workers is a term we use to describe those who work with iron or steel to create large-scale metal structures and large-scale art installations. To make you feel a little bit more comfortable in the forge, we've brought in this. Gentlemen, this isn't just high art. It's your round one challenge. Inside of this cubist art piece are 2 canoes and 2 canisters. Your round one challenge is to free either a canoe or a canister and then combine the provided 1095 high carbon powdered steel with a piece of mild steel from the sculpture in your can to form a Damascus dagger blade. Your dagger must have a needlepoint tip and an edge between 12 and 15 inches in length. The total length of your blade must not exceed 22 inches.
I'm not nervous. Should I be?
In the second round, you'll be attaching handles to those blades so that they can be tested for strength and durability in an oil drum stab and for sharpness in a leather apron stab and slash. You will have 3 hours in which to complete all of your work. Good luck, modern metal workers. Your 3 hours starts now.
So we've got smiths going in multiple directions.
Nice try.
No, that's not gonna work.
Basically, what we have are a bundle of steel crab trap-like cages that are all welded together and then trapped inside our canisters.
I will take anything that is easily available. I see a canoe, so great, I'll go for the canoe. Anything you need to do as a metal worker, you can do with a torch. And I got my canoe out in literally seconds once I fired up the torch.
Dave's got a can free.
What I'm choosing to do is paint the inside of the canoe with the white out, so I get a barrier to allow the billet to slip out easy.
The stand-up can and the canoe can, the same size, really. It's all about how you load materials into them.
Yeah, it all comes down to where you put it. And that's why the canoe is an advantage, because you can put down a bed of high carbon and then place a couple of pieces of mild and then fill it with high carbon.
I'm twisting this mild steel and putting it in the core, so when I grind it and etch it, I could possibly get a nice pattern. Being in the center, it'll add flexibility and won't have to concern myself with a non-hardenable edge being exposed.
There, get this one out of the way. What's that? Ready to come off.
This is difficult because the bars are quite thick and the welds are in places that are difficult to get to. I want the canoe because the canoe would give me better access to the inside of the canister so I can play with the placement of mild steel inside of it.
Henry's got a can.
I didn't get that one. I then have to use a piece of the art piece itself inside the canister somewhere. My first thought is to cut it into little pieces, throw it inside the powder and just hope it doesn't get towards the edge, which would give me portions of my edge that are unhardenable.
So Henry's just like randomly dropping pieces of mild steel into his can. I mean, it's a
little mild, a little hard, you know.
It looks like maybe dropped in the center, so that could be all right.
Looking for the other one.
Rick and Grizz, they're still trying to get these cans.
Looks like Grizz.
Oh, there we go. Grizz came out with a red can. That's one of our top-fed canisters.
I wanted the stand-up canister because I could get an even amount of 1095 around the mild steel.
Grizz needs to ensure that he's got hardened steel at the tip of his blade and on all the edges.
Damascus is always a challenge. If I don't get this packed good and tight, I could end up with voids in there.
I love making Damascus. Damascus is what got me into blade making.
I can't find the other one.
Rick still doesn't have a canister or a canoe.
Oh, come on, man. The first thing I grabbed is the hammer, but that didn't work. I grabbed the cordless grinder, but that was just taking too long, so I finally went to the acetylene torch. And then the pressure starts to mount because I'm behind. I know I got to get this out of there quick. Oh, there it is. Otherwise, I'm dead. This was not the way I wanted to start.
There you go.
Yep. Blue canoe.
Hot seal.
That's a pretty decent heat that Dave has on that one.
Yeah, now that's kind of what the color you want to see.
We've got two presses going. Grizz and Dave at the same time working their cans.
Yeah, the thing about squeezing these cans in these presses, once you think you're done, do more.
1 hour has elapsed! Woohoo!
I don't know what Dave's doing now.
Is he carving the flat?
Yes. I think that Dave is actually using the torch to carve the sides off of that can and cut all that mild steel away.
Freaking brilliant. No, no, no.
What's with that exhaust port?
I haven't even touched it with a hammer yet. Immediately, I get a little hole pop open on my cap, and that's not good. I am freaking out a little bit because if that oxygen gets in there, it's a big problem.
Let's see if you got it. Nope.
Not only can that cause inclusions, but I can actually burn the steel up because it's powder.
Man, that candle is not going out. All right, he got it there.
Anytime you're dealing with Damascus, it's tough because you have to make the metal first, then shape the metal, and I had a slow start. It's better not to rush this, let it heat up all the way through. But I know I'm catching up.
Rick is over here, he's clock watching. He's done a couple of passes on the press, always with very, very hot steel.
That's smart work.
Allows for both a good weld and allows you to move the metal around.
Woo, 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 woo. I'm back on track. I'm right where I need to be.
Grizz didn't use any whiteout, so everything should be a homogeneous piece of steel right now.
The weld's looking great. Now I need to start drawing out the billet. The billet's pretty big, and I start noticing a void on one end of the billet. It's kind of concerning me. But I know I've got enough material, so I trim about 5 inches off of it.
You see that?
Holy cow. Grizz now has most likely exposed mild steel right in the center of his can, where he's going to make his
So everything he draws out is just going to keep pushing that center piece right down the middle.
I got a good weld. That's not gonna work. But I gotta get the canister off so I can expose some of that high carbon steel for the edge.
Looks like Rick is having a hell of a time peeling that can, as is Henry.
This is nuts. It's taking a long time to get this jacket off, and I got no time to waste.
I am trying everything, and nothing's working. You know, I don't know why I can't get this off faster. Whether or not the whiteout was dry enough or I put enough on, I don't know.
I'm worried that I may not actually make a blade, that I'm just gonna get as far as the billet and be stuck.
Henry's in trouble.
Looks like Rick is having a hell of a time peeling that can, as is Henry.
I'm worried that I may not actually make a blade, that I'm just gonna get as far as the billet and be stuck.
Metal workers! 2 hours has elapsed!
You know, as a metal worker, you have to work smart. So I say to myself, I don't have the time or the energy to continue this fight. So I'm gonna leave the canoe on. As I shape this, as well as grind those bevels, I'll probably grind out most of that mild steel. It's important to make sure that that edge is high carbon 1095 steel, because mild steel, it will dent, it won't stay sharp.
Henry's now working on the second side of his billet, trying to knock it loose.
That core billet, I got it out. I am relieved.
I was planning to already have the bevel done right now, so I'm really pushing it.
I have now got my tang roughly drawn out. I'm feeling great, feeling awesome.
Grizz is killing it.
Now I need to start thinking about the point. I'm worried that piece of mild steel may be at the end of that billet, and I need to have that 1095 right at the tip, especially for the piercing test. So I cut what I call a bird's mouth, a little V-notch at the end, and I'm gonna close it up and forge weld that together to bring the 1095 into one piece at the tip of the blade.
That's really interesting. You got hard steel, and the mild steel's at the bottom, and you weld it together, bring it together like that.
This is my biggest concern, getting this weld correct, because I know this is where the abuse is gonna be on this knife.
Oh, hot steel on the floor.
Big blue flinging stuff.
Wow, that is a thin piece of steel that Dave's got.
I'm thermocycling. I do it twice. I would do it more, but the clock's ticking. I'm thinking, get it right. Just get it right. I take my blade out of the quench, and I notice there's a slight warp. But I don't think it's enough to where I'll be eliminated.
Rick is also bringing his blade up to temperature. He's got a large magnet in his hand.
I take this magnet as a part of the heat treating process. If it's magnetic and it sticks to the magnet, I know it's not at the right heat. It's got to be above that.
Plenty good. Get it in there. There you go.
And he's in the quench.
So I'm claiming victory.
Yeah, baby. As I did the first quench in the oil and I pulled it out, my blade warped. So go back and quench a second time. A little bit of a bow towards the tip on the second quench. Most of that curve I can take out with my grind.
2 minutes!
I'm freaking out because time is running out, and if I get this heat uneven in the blade, it can cause major warps.
It looks like Henry just went for a quench with a lukewarm blade.
I pulled the blade out, and it wasn't warped. Beautiful. I can't believe I actually got a blade out of this canister. So I just started grinding.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Metal workers, shut down your machines. This first round of competition is over.
This has me feeling like I just climbed Mount Everest.
Over the last 3 hours, each of you has forged a Damascus dagger blade with a needlepoint. Now it's time for the judges to take a closer look at your work. Grizz, please present your blade to the judges.
This is a very classic needlepoint dagger. I love the profile of it. One thing that does concern me is that you put your piece of mild in the dead center of that can, drew it out, and then cut a bunch off the end, which might make the tip of this mild steel.
All right, Rick, you're up next. Please present your blade to the judges.
Well, Rick, I watched you struggle with taking that can off for a long time. It looks like it's possible that there's still some on there. There's some delaminations right here where it might be can, it might be mild steel, I'm not sure.
All right, Henry, please present your work to the judges.
As a stabbing or slashing knife, it's a great shape. That's probably the most aggressive point we've got out there. Having said that, I can see on the edge where these delams are, 1 cube, 2 cube, 3 cube. So the edge of this blade has 3 sections that can't be hardened. That's a big issue.
All right, Dave, please present your blade to the judges.
All right, Dave, you're not only here to turn in the blade, you're here to represent your class. Take that piece of mild steel and twist it to give it some design. To me, it's like showing your craftsmanship, and I appreciate that. Moving forward, I'd definitely like to see a little bit more definition of your blade here. But overall, good job.
Thank you, sir.
Metal workers, you have the most refined blade shapes out of any other class that's come through. That being said, only the 3 best blades may move forward. The metal worker leaving the forge is Henry. Your blade didn't make the cut.
Well, Henry, it's very apparent that the mild steel is on the edge of your blade, and that's not a problem we can come back from. And unfortunately, that's why we have to send you home.
Yes, sir.
Henry, please surrender your blade.
Yes, sir. That was my first canister, and I really just didn't pay enough attention to where the placement of the mild steel was going to be. I learned the hard way, but nonetheless, I learned. First thing I'm going to do when I get home is fire up my forge. My goal is full-time smithing forever.
All right, metal workers, congratulations. Your work has landed you in the second round of this competition. Now that those blades have been tempered, it's time to turn them into fully functional weapons by attaching handles to them. The additional stipulation for this round is that you add a guard to your blade. You will have 3 hours in this round. Use some of that time to address the flaws and issues that have been identified in your blades. But keep an eye on that clock, because when the time runs out, your blades will be tested for strength and durability in that oil can stab, and for edge retention in the leather apron stab and slash. Good luck. Your 3 hours starts now.
Judges notice the warp. I've got to get that out. There is a challenge grinding the bevel on a dagger as opposed to a regular knife, because you've got a center line that you have to bring everything to.
Over here, Grizz has actually turned his grinder 90 degrees.
You can actually see the bevels that way, more than when the blade's going this way.
I want to make a brass guard, so I'm looking for brass. And I want it to be thick enough that it's not going to flex. I see rosewood, and I know it's tough, so I selected that. Then I move right over to the grinding to address any of the judges' concerns.
Modern metal workers, 1 hour has elapsed.
Grinding away, and I notice a slight warp in the blade that I can't grind out because I don't have material to grind it out. I'm competing for the right to get to the metalworker's anvil. I need to have that blade in line with itself, otherwise it could deflect and break. If my mild steel core is in the center of the billet, maybe I could bend this thing to get it to straighten up as best I can. So I etch the blade, I pull it out, it's all 1095 black.
Can't see the mild steel.
This blade should be able to bend without any issues.
I'm using a hidden tang. It's clean and it's strong. Handle fit-up's going very well. Then I realized after I glue up my handle and guard, I've got this big block of wood next to my guard. Now I've got to think about a way to grind that wood away without marring this soft brass material of my guard.
Rick is continuing to shape his tang on the bandsaw.
He's dulling the bandsaw so that no one else can use it.
Good tactic. So I've got my one block of wood, and I've got to cut that block in half. And as I start to cut and push this block, it starts to veer off. And that's usually a sign of a dull blade. Because of the unevenness of the cuts, I'm gonna flip them to their flat sides so that I get a nice flush connection between them and the tang.
I don't know if you saw how wavy that saw cut was. Sooner or later, you have to sand that back to flat, which makes for really narrow handles.
If I heat treated this blade correctly, this blade should be able to bend without any issues. So I put it in a vise and I start taking little bites and moving.
It's just making all of us cringe.
Don't continue. He's got a tempered hardened blade. He's bending it in the vise with no heat.
If he's got enough of that mild steel running down what is now the center of that blade, he could get it to bend a little bit.
I was able to get a little more of the warp out.
Normally, at my home shop, I would have pre-fit up that handle before I ever mixed up my epoxy. But being I got in a hurry, I epoxied before I did all that grinding. It was a little speed bump, but not the end of the world. Formulate a plan, work my way around it.
I start laying on the epoxy, which you've got 5 minutes before that stuff gets hardened. It's not going together. Come on.
Flipping the scales is blocking his fit. If you put the wood like this and you drill your 2 holes, you can't flip the wood over because those holes don't line up anymore.
So I'm starting to freak out a bit. Yeah. I know that if I don't get this handle all set up before that epoxy dries, I'm screwed. If I can't get this to work, I will not have a handle. So the only thing I can think of is I look to my left, and there Dave has a hammer. Can I borrow this?
Go ahead.
and I just hammered home that top scale.
Actually, really surprised this handle material hasn't cracked or snapped at this point.
Sometimes you gotta hammer.
What I'm going to have is a through-tang construction of my handle. What this affords me is a positive mechanical connection.
Dave has just cut two very thin pieces of material here, and it looks like he's using them like shims.
I'm choosing not to use epoxy, I'm using shims.
I really wish Dave would fill that up with epoxy.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Modern metalworkers, drop your tools. This second round of competition is over.
That's it, it's done. Now it's in the judge's hands, literally.
Metalworkers, welcome to the strength test. In order to test the tip and edges of your knives as well as the overall construction, I'll be stabbing them into these oil drums. Remember, this test is all about what the drums do to your knives and not what your knives do to the drums. Grizz, you're up first. Are you ready?
I'm ready.
Excellent.
I'm a little bit nervous, but I'm excited. I'm confident in the ability of my blade.
Well, Grizz, first things first, you lost about 1/8 of an inch of your tip. That being said, your edge held up pretty well. The handle is really comfortable, and the guard, it's perfect. Well done.
Thank you.
Rick, you're up next. Are you ready?
Yeah, man, let's
All
do
right.
it.
Cool.
Seeing Grizz's tip break starts to make me worry about my tip.
Well, Rick, your point held up really well. There is, however, some damage to the edge right here. Probably a piece of the can or unwelded something. The handle itself is narrower in this direction than it is this direction, so it's a little difficult knowing where the blade is. In all, your knife held up pretty well. Well done.
Okay, thank you.
Dave, you're up. You ready?
Yes, sir.
All right, let's do it.
It's a very thin profile. My big concern with the testing coming up is failure.
Well, Dave, I was a little nervous about how narrow your blade was getting as you were making it, but it seems plenty strong, held up really well. There is an issue with the very tip. It took a roll. You can kind of hear it. In all, well done.
Thank you, sir.
All right, metal workers, this is a sharpness test. Unlike the strength test, this is all about what the tip and edges of your weapon will do to these leather aprons. Grizz, you're up first. You ready?
I'm ready.
Let's do this. All right, Grizz, you already had a missing piece right there, and it definitely did affect some of the stabs, but it's still enough to penetrate and lacerate a little bit on the bottom part. So overall, your blade will cut. All right, Rick, your turn. You ready?
Yeah, man, let's do it.
Let's do this. Okay, Rick, let's talk about your blade here. Your handle construction. It feels different when you hold it this way, and it's really different when you hold it that way. Your grooves that you put on here just don't match. But overall, your weapon will cut.
Thank you.
All right, Dave, it's your turn. You ready?
Yes, sir.
Let's do this.
I'm worried. I really hope the fact that my tip rolled and I lost some sharpness on the edges isn't what sends me home. All right, here we go.
All right, Dave, it's your turn. You ready?
Yes, sir. I really hope the fact that my tip rolled and I lost some sharpness on the edges isn't what sends me home.
All right, here we go.
Okay, Dave, it's a light blade. It's easier to control when you're moving it around. It is fast and easy. Your tip, despite taking minor damage in the strength test, it penetrated easily. Your weapon will cut.
Thank you.
Metal workers, the judge's deliberation is complete. For one of you, the journey towards $50,000 and the title of tournament champion ends right here. Grizz, your blade did not make the cut.
Grizz, your weapon took damage in the strength test that caused it to underperform in the sharpness test. And for that reason, we're sending you home.
Grizz, please surrender your blade.
I agree with the judges. The tip breaking off is enough to send you home. And what? It did.
Frier.
This experience was everything I thought it would be, and more. Whoever moves into the Tournament of Champions are going to do the metalworkers proud.
Rick, Dave, congratulations. You've made it into the third round of this class competition. Now we're sending you back to your home forges to recreate an iconic weapon from history. That weapon is the Flamberge Rapier.
All right.
The Flamberge Rapier was popular in Europe from the mid-17th century through the early 18th century as an ornate, stylized gentleman's sword. Rapiers were light, agile weapons that could be wielded single-handed to precisely administer pinpoint stabs and cuts. The undulating double-edged blade design increased the length of the cutting surface while frustrating an opponent's attempts to slide his weapon closer to the wielder's hands. Today, you can see the Flamberge Rapier in the hit mobile strategy game Dominations. Download it today to participate in an exclusive Forged in Fire event. Your blades must fall within the following parameters. You must have a flamboyant or wavy double-edged blade. Now here comes the complicated part. Your handle must include 2 side rings, a rear guard, an upward swept rear quillion, a downward swept front quillion, 2 arms, a knuckle bow, and pommel.
Yeah, I have made tons of Flamberge rapiers. Made a couple last week, in preparation for the show here, so
You will have 5 days at your home forges to complete this weapon. At the end of those 5 days, you'll return and present your rapiers to our panel of expert judges. Only after they've thoroughly tested them will they declare one of you the Forged in Fire champion for the modern metal worker class and move you forward into the Tournament of Champions where you'll compete for $50,000. Good luck, gentlemen. We'll see you in 5 days.
All right.
it's good to be back here in my home forge. By the end of day 1, I'm hoping to have half of the blade completed. I'm using 5160 spring steel. This is a Flamberge. I don't know, Flamberge. I need to begin to lay out the curves. It's gonna end up being about 13 curves. This belt is hogging steel like nobody's business. Yeah, baby.
We're here at my forge in Connecticut. Let's go move some steel. I have to take this hunk of steel to get it into shape. And with my equipment, it's a slow process, but it's an accurate process. With a ply press, you really have a sense of what the metal is doing. You're not just relying on your eyes, you're relying on your feel, touch. You could say there's an intimacy.
We have the blade shaped, and I think it looks good. Today we're gonna be heat treating. This is a long blade. I'm gonna have to build a quench tank. I'm thinking a 4-foot quench tank would be plenty. Woo! All I need to do is weld a bottom to it so I can hold oil. There we go, 1 quench tank. I hope this doesn't leak. Hey, and it leaks. Oh, man. Okay, bring it back and chase that hole and try to close it up with weld. No. Hey. Well, a little bit here. And then ultimately, I just used some black duct tape. Come on. Problem solved.
Yeah, baby.
Today, I need to continue shaping the blade. As a metal worker, if you need a jig or a tool, you make it, you build it. This is my jig, just a bunch of nipples from large to small. I'm gonna create my serpentine on my blade with these. I set this up for the serpentine to begin wide, so it's shaped like a very narrow Christmas tree, all the way up. There's your serpentine blade. Guess the next step's to quench.
The first thing today is to do some more grinding on that blade. The weight of the blade is about 4 pounds. I got to taper this handle here so that it's more comfortable. That will certainly help take off some of the weight. When I finished up, it's about 3.5 pounds. A little too heavy for me, but you know, it's a balancing act. To figure out the basket hilt, I'm going to take some just general clothes hanger wire. To get that set, you can then transfer that over to the finished steel. I think this was a perfect challenge for the modern metal workers because you had to use every tool in the shop. This is one of the weirdest things I've ever had to weld up, but once it's complete, I think I'll have an awesome Flamberg rapier.
Plan for today, I need to do a little dressing up on my basket hilt. I'm gonna flame blue this piece so it has a nice uniform color to it. Now I need to get my counterbalance on the back end, that pommel. That is really key because you have so much material hanging out in front. You gotta have that counterweight in the back end. You could have a heavy blade as long as it's balanced. I have it cut, I squared it, and now I'm attempting to tap it so I can thread it onto the tang of the sword. Ah, I didn't want that to happen. Oh boy. I forced it, and the tap snapped. Not a good thing. My brain's going a million miles an hour. I have less than 1 day to get this done. Ah, I didn't want that to happen. I forced it, and the tap snapped. I have less than 1 day left to get this done, but it's got to get done. So I grabbed a larger piece of stock. It's mild steel. It should be much easier to work with. Raise the weight a little bit, but I need that counterbalance for it to function properly. It's stabby, it'll stab.
Rick, Dave, welcome back to the Forge. Now, you fellas have had 5 days at your home forges to put your metal smithing spin on these historic blades. Rick, tell us about your weapon.
It was great, went well. I made the blade out of 5160 spring steel and chose bloodwood for the handle. I'm confident this blade is competitive.
Dave, how'd it go for you?
Smooth, a couple of hiccups here and there. Blade's made out of 5160 tool steel. I went with a stainless steel basket and a mild steel pommel.
All right, gentlemen, well, both of your blades look beautiful enough to be mounted on our wall with our other class champions. However, there can only be one Forged in Fire champion for the modern metal smithing class. We're now gonna put your weapons through a series of 3 tests. There will be a strength test, a sharpness test, and up first, the kill test. Doug?
All right, metal workers, to find out what kind of lethal damage your weapon will do, I will deliver slash cuts and stabs on this big carcass. Rick, you're up first. You ready?
I'm ready. Let's do it.
Let's do this.
I'm very proud with what I put together. I took great care to make sure this thing was strong and tough. Man, this is going to be fun to watch.
Okay, Rick. First up, it does not have the balance of a rapier. It's so forward heavy. I should be able to move it with my wrist and my arm extended. But the construction of your blade here, when used like a sword, provides a deep cut on every stroke. On thrusting, it penetrates deep enough. Overall, this weapon will kill.
Thank you.
All right, David, it's your turn. You ready?
I'm ready, yes, sir.
Let's do this.
My blade may be a little sexier, maybe, but performance is everything.
bacon. Nice job, man. That was beautiful.
All right, Dave, the balance of this blade allows it to be able to be maneuvered quite easily. On the thrusting, easy penetration all the way, and on slashing, it cut spine and even deeper into the flesh. Overall, sir, your blade will kill.
Thank you, sir.
Oh, boy.
All right, metalworkers. To test the strength and overall construction of your blade, I'll be attacking these steel bucklers. Remember, this test is not about what your blades do to the bucklers, but what those bucklers can do to your blades. All right, Rick, you're up. You ready?
Yeah, man.
Okay.
Now that I'm going into the strength test, I'm starting to get nervous. They're gonna put it under some heavy stress, and I don't wanna look.
All right, Rick, you're up. You ready?
Yeah, man.
Okay.
Now that I'm going into the strength test, I'm starting to get nervous. They're gonna put it under some heavy stress, and I don't wanna look.
Okay, Rick, these swords are designed to be fast and point-oriented. They're designed for the thrust, so having that balance point so far forward makes it more of a cutting sword. But is it a strong blade? You bet. Did it hold up in this test? Very well, taking just some minor chipping. Nicely done.
Okay, thank you.
All right, Dave, you ready?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So, Dave, first off, everything could be about 20% smaller. Having said that, the balance point is right there in between those two fingers, which is what I want, because now I can control the tip. I don't really feel any damage. It flexed very well and came back to true. So very good job.
Thank you, sir.
Nicely done.
Nice job.
Thank you.
Good job.
Well, metal workers, to find out if your weapons have any edge left, I will deliver slashes, thrusts, and cuts on this big sandbag. Rick, you're up first. You ready for this?
Yeah, man, let's do it.
Let's do this. All right, Rick, the thing with this is when you're swinging forward, what it takes to recover the blade is such wasted energy on my part. But it is sharp enough to lacerate the bag. So in this case, sir, your sword will cut.
Thank you.
All right, Dave, it's your turn. You ready?
Yes, sir.
Let's do this. All right, Dave, balance matters. It was easy to thrust, easy to slash. Moving this around feels good in the hand. And overall, sir, your weapon will cut.
Thank you, sir.
Rick, Dave, the judges have made a final decision about which of you will move forward into our Tournament of Champions to represent the Modern Metal Workers class. And that champion is Dave. Congratulations. Rick, unfortunately, your blade did not make the cut.
Rick, a weapon is more than the sum of its parts. Though both your weapons were of equal weight, size, and shape, your weapon just wasn't balanced as well, and therefore it underperformed in all of our tests. That's why we're letting you go.
Rick, please surrender your blade.
I wouldn't have traded this experience for anything. I would obviously love to have won, but Dave is going to represent the metalworkers well. He's made the better sword. Rapier, he's made the better rapier.
Dave, congratulations. You will be moving on to compete against our previously crowned champions from the Farrier, Armorer, and Blacksmith classes for the title of tournament champion and the biggest purse ever, $50,000. Dave, please present your blade to the judges.
I won. I am the champion of the metalworkers. I'm standing at that anvil. I have the tournament champions to try and win. It's going to be a brand new fight, and I have to bring it.